Jello, jello. Are we on? Looks like we might very well be on then. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. My name is Dustin Cormier, and this is How to Rock Astrology. Very nice to see you all, and to be seen by you all.
How's college?
Yeah, hello phone.
Very nice to see you all.
Alright, my name is Dustin Cormier, and this is an episode of How to Rock Astrology. And of course, today, as you might have seen, we will be discussing the Big 3 in Tropical Vedic Astrology. Fun times, good times. Now, for all of you who are interested, the Big 3, we know it in the West, and, well, just, in kind of in fad astrology. We talk about the Big 3 as being the rising sign, the sun, and the moon. And there is something to that. But the Big 3 doesn't actually, exist. That's not written in a book. That is fad astrology. And we have fun with fads. It's fun to jump on a wagon and to do a thing, that everyone else is doing. So, the Big 3 is, in current fad astrology, it's the rising sign, sun sign, and moon sign. And these are important. But today and in the recent times, we've been playing around with this idea of using the Tropical Vedic Big 3. Now, this is something that was, again, not created, but the person who kind of pushed this along is a gentleman that goes by the name of Corey Dowds. You can find him on his own social media. He is known as Eye of the Veda. Now, I'm looking for a particular thing here. Yeah, here's my boy. Corey Dowds from Eye of the Veda. Beauty fella. He really knows his stuff in Tropical Vedic Astrology. And he's kind of the guy who sort of put out a video out there and said, the new Big 3, the real Big 3 in Tropical Vedic Astrology, is going to be consisting of 3 particular things. Now, I've got to get these things up here anyway, so what the heck, let's do it. The 3 particular things are known as the Atmakaraka, the Moon's Nakshatra, and the Swamsha. So let's call Atmakaraka number 1. Then we're going to call the Swamsha number 2. And these two are intricately connected if you know how the Swamsha, what it is and how it's created. And then, of course, our third image, our third important dimension of the soul is the Moon's Nakshatra. And these are the 3 ingredients that make up what we have been playing with lately. Hello there, Roberta Jongen from the Netherlands. It's nice to be hanging out with you. Now let's get my live chat viewer going here as well. So this is the 3 articles that we are working with when we are dealing with what we would call the Tropical Vedic Big 3. These are the Big 3 that we can point at in the tradition of Tropical Vedic Astrology to really stand out with a person's chart, to really see the guts of what they have happening. Now, my own Big 3 would be a lot of fun to talk about, and maybe we'll do that today. But what I wanted to do today is, while we usually do live readings at the final weekend of the month, I'm still trying to do them twice a month if I can help it. The 2nd Thursday and the 4th Sunday, or the 4th Saturday, depending on how it goes. I might start doing it on the Saturday. Let me know what you guys think about that, if it makes sense, if it makes more sense to do it on Sundays. But I think Saturday's feeling good. Now today, we are going to be discussing your Big 3. That is the plan today. We usually riff on doing chart readings. Today, today's a free one, so you don't need to send me any money. Today, we are doing free little tiny readings for people and discussing their Atmakarika, their Swamsha, and their Nakshatra. Now, I'm going to try to do my best to spread this out, to push it out there, to get as many people on this video as possible today. So, that is the plan for today. Now, that being the case, we don't need to do too much ado, because we already have some people watching. We already have some people hanging out. Now, if you're into this sort of thing, what I would like to have is for you to put in your birth time when I say so, your birth time, your birth date, your birthplace. And if you feel like it, I'm going to riff on your big three today. That is the plan. And we're going to see how that goes. So thank you to everybody for coming. Thank you to Corey Dowds for launching us into this brave new world of the Tropical Vedic Big Three, Atmakarika, Swamsha, and Navamsha. And as usual, let me see here. I wonder if I can make this work like this. Yes. So if you're enjoying my work, and if you have been watching what I do, I recommend you check out dustincormier.com/subscribe, and you can become a part of my email list. Thank you, Roberta Jongan. I'm going to be asking for birth times in just a moment. Nice to see you, Anana. Now, for everybody watching, I'm going to start putting out these tiny little YouTube shorts. They're about 3 minutes long, and they're going to be describing the big three. Now, if you're here today, you're going to get a big helping of it. But I want to make these tiny little videos, 3 minutes long, and then you can put them on all your social media if you feel like it. So, if you're interested in being a part of this, do me a favor, you can either send me your email, or if you are watching my channel, you're going to see how I plan to do this. But I want to start getting people onto my email list. So what you're going to essentially do is you're going to join my email list. And when you join my email list, you're going to get a free copy of my book, Thread, my little tiny ebook. It's sort of just a tiny little short story. And then I'm going to get you to send me an email with an answer to a certain question. If you do all of this, if you go to join my email list by going to dustincormier.com/subscribe, you send me the answer to the question, what is the instrument that the main character plays in that little short story? If you send me that, I'm going to make you a tiny little video just for yourself that you have for free, that you have forever, and I'm going to be able to send it to you. I'm going to put it on my own social media, and you can put it on your social media, and get the word out about the Tropical Vedic Big Three. So if anybody's interested in doing that and you want to ask for that again, just hit me up at astrology@dustincormier.com. Email me there and we will do the thing. So, for now, everybody, it looks like we've already got some people hanging out with us. It's nice to see some familiar names, familiar faces. Hello, Itzel. It's nice to have you here as well. So let's get started for now. Let's give you guys a little taste of what we're doing today with this Vedic Big Three. Why don't you guys all, if you are here, if you are watching, if you feel like it, the way I plan on doing this, I'm going to try to just get everybody. I'm going to try to do a little 3 to 5 minute video describing your Big Three. So let's get started. Everybody, if you're here, if you're watching, if you're ready, throw in your birth coordinates now, folks. We're starting it off nice and early today. Give me your birth date, your birth time, and the place that you were born. I'm going to throw them into my computer, and we're going to take a little peeky look at your Tropical Vedic Big Three. Now's the time, folks. Feel free to throw it in there. Now, Roberta Jongan has already thrown hers in, but I'm going to give everybody a moment. Yeah, thank you, everybody. So Roberta Jongan, I see that you've got yours in there, but I'm going to do what I always do. We're going to pick a number, and whoever guesses the number is going to get this little tiny sweet free reading today. So, get ready because it's coming at y'all pretty soon. I'm just going to let a few people to throw in their birth information. It's nice to have people hanging out with us live like this. For anybody else, if you're watching live, now is the time to throw in your birth time. I'm basically going to choose a number like I usually do, and then we're going to get started. Having fun with these glasses. You gotta have fun, folks, you know what I mean? Even this fad stuff, as I like to call it, the Tropical Vedic Big 3, is kind of us having fun, you know? And you gotta be able to do that when it comes to serious stuff like psychology and astrology. Okay, now for those who are just watching and joining in, we're throwing in our birth times, and now we're choosing which of these birth informations that have been given to me are going to be our first victim of the day. I'm just going to pick a number like 17. And I'm going to start from the bottom. We have... Now, I'm going to include Roberta Jongan. I'm including you in this. Oh, Sebastian, my friend, you just made it. Congratulations. All right, so I'm going to go to the number 17, and I'm starting from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I actually landed on Roberta Jongan. Excuse me. Okay, Miss Roberta, you have been chosen as our first victim for the day. Now, like I said, folks, I'm going to try to get as many of these done as we can. So this is less long than it usually is for each reading. Let's have some fun and see what we can do here. So, Roberta, you were born on November 29th, 1955. Let's see, you guys should be able to see me here, yep. And the time was 4:45 in the morning. It looks like. Let me know, Roberta, if your time was supposed to be 4:45 p.m. That's 16 o'clock. And then Heerlen, the Netherlands. Heerlen. Hello there, Nin Holland. You're going to have probably a chance to join us in just a minute. At night. Okay, thank you, Roberta. So that's actually 16:45, right? So 4 p.m. Closer to the night. Oh, you mean at night as in the morning, in the very early morning. Right, Roberta? I'm assuming that you mean 4:45 a.m., like in the early morning. And then Heerlen. Heerlen, let's call it Lindbergh. Sweet. Yes. Okay, good. Okay, Roberta Jongan, my friend, you are definitely close to a cusp. But today, yeah, it's relevant. Let me just see. Ooh, yeah, you're kind of close to that cusp, but you're probably Libra rising. You've got a pretty close birth time. Let me know, Miss Roberta, if you near Maastricht, yeah. Let me know if this is the birth chart you're used to using, Miss Roberta. And also let me know if I've got it correct that you're a miss. You know, sometimes it's oftentimes when I think of an A at the end of a name, I think of it as a lady, but that depends on the culture, I'd say. So let me know if you're a lady or a man, or if I've got any of those wrong. Now, we are looking today at Roberta's Big 3. And I'm going to show you guys a little bit about how to understand and to use the big three. So, Roberta. Of course, I'm going to be showing you guys really how to move through it. So, we have Venus. Aha! I get so many Venus Amakarikas. I myself am Venus Amakarika. Wow, this is a very interesting situation happening in this chart. Wow, Neptune right on the ascendant. Just sold your house. You're female, and you need a new house. Okay. Yeah, you're at the end of your Saturn dasha, and Saturn rules your 4th house. Okay, so yeah, there's something really interesting happening here. We have Libra rising, and Venus is the Atmakarika. So as we go along, folks, I'm going to try to explain as much as I can about how the Atmakarika works and its importance. One of the key things that is worth understanding about the Atmakarika is it is the Atmakarika. Karika is a signifier for something. So anything a karaka is like it signifies something. The Atma represents the soul, like Atman, if you've ever heard of it in the Indian tradition. So the Atma relates to the soul. It's almost a second sun. It is an energy that truly guides the chart. It is almost like we reincarnate consistently, reliably as this planet every time. It's like you're always a Venus Atmakarika, we could almost say. Although it's technically kind of hearsay, but it's how I've been thinking about things. Now, as Venus Atmakarika, there's already a lot to be said there. You are somebody who is Venus Atmakarika. You probably got curly hair like me. I'm also Venus Atmakarika. You might not, though. Venus Atmakarika is creative. It is very loving and passionate. It really gets connected to the exchange of passion. Venus Atmakarika wants to live in a solid, stable, simple relationship that is solid, as in Taurus. It's fair, and Libra, the Libra aspect, it wants to be a good deal, a good exchange. Venus Atmakarika wants to be happy with what it involves itself with and who it involves itself with. It wants it to be a good exchange. Now, what goes on with the Atmakarika is going to depend on what's happening in the chart. In this case, there's some very specific things happening in this chart. What we read is that this is a Libra rising, which means Libra also rules the rising sign. Now, this Venus is caught up in a pretty crazy thing, which is basically it's being shamed by the sun. And Venus and the sun aren't really good friends anyway. Thankfully, it's being helped by its friend Mercury. So when you have a malefic planet like the sun, it's with Rahu and another planet. That planet, Venus in this case, is being shamed in particular is the word we would use. Venus is being shamed by its 11th lord, the sun. This is a pretty crazy chart because Pluto and Uranus are in Leo. So there's a Pluto in Leo energy to this person. So Roberta, the sun is very much causing shame to Venus in your chart. You are somebody who's supposed to love. Relationships, feeling beautiful, drinking water. You know, we're all walking up the mountain of life. We're all walking up this mountain. And the men in our lives, the husband, you know, the male energy says, come on, honey, come on, pick up the pace. Come on. We gotta walk up this mountain, baby. Come on. Pick up your feet. Let's go. We gotta do things. We gotta stay busy. We gotta show up in the world. We gotta be somebody, baby. We gotta make an impression in the world. We have to show everybody that we're not useless. We have to show everybody we're worth something. And the sun is dragging us. But Venus is, especially for a woman, it's the energy of feeling, let's drink some water. You've got this water on your back. And if you carry it up all the way up the mountain, you're carrying the heavy water. If you carry it all the way back down the mountain, you had this water the whole time, and it was only weighing you down. It's this heavy water. If you're going to bring water, you might as well drink it. If you don't drink it, then it's heavy. It's slowing down your journey. So we have to drink the water. And the water is the feminine experience of love, of enjoyment, of luxury, of money. And in your case, it's your destiny, because you are Libra rising, especially with Neptune there. This is a very insanely, it's a chart that wants to be very romantic, but it gets very wrapped up in the power of the sun, of men, and Leo is the 11th house of Libra. So this is somebody whose ambition, whose career, who desires to show up in the world again as the sun. The sun wants to show up to prove to everybody that I'm a good, valuable person and that I can push my energy and I can be an ambitious woman. But the sun shames Venus. It's very likely that your parents, perhaps your father, perhaps your mother, your parents when you were very young caused you to feel this shame, where you might have been a eldest sister. I wonder if you're the oldest sister in your family, Roberta, or maybe you had to take care of your parents. Maybe you had to take care of your other siblings. And so the sun has to show up and say, I have to do all these things. And it shames Venus and Mercury, which are two important relationship planets. It's important for you to be able to communicate, because Mercury is also in this shame of the sun and Rahu. Venus is your Atmakaraka, and it's your rising sign lord. And it is being shamed, and that's a real dinger. That's a real tough thing in this chart. It's also in trine with the moon. Now, how do we find out? So this is our first part of the big three. I see, so your mother was dead at 4 years old, it looks like. Because that would be a difficult experience if that was the case. And in a way, it would make sense, because a mother is going to, I wonder if I'm reading that correctly, Roberta, because your mother, when you have a good mother, she teaches you how to be a woman. She teaches you how to, so your mother would teach you how to feel confident as a woman. And if you didn't have a chance, if your mother didn't teach you how to be happy as a woman, how to feel satisfied, how to get a man's heart, how to feel valuable, and you had a family of 18 children, or do you mean you have 18 children? But if you're born in a family of 18 children with no mother, then everybody is probably grabbing to have, you're the youngest. Okay, very interesting. So there might be an energy where you were so young with a family with all those children, then you might have been trying to get everyone's attention, because that's a lot of children in one family. So it might have been hard for you to feel, again, a woman likes to feel like she is special. That's what gives a woman some of her power. We all do. It's not just a woman, it's a man too. A man has a Venus in his chart. But men are more about, they don't need to feel special in order to do what men do. That's why men have less creative magic. Men can just do everything. That's nice that your older sister is a millionaire. But remember, you could have millions of dollars, Roberta, but you need to be happy with yourself. And something whatever, I don't know for sure, but what the astrology says, that it's good for you to consider that if when you were very young, if you felt like a runt, if you felt like you didn't get enough attention, it's important for us to know that a woman feels the power. One of the great powers of a woman is to be loved and to feel special, to feel like this person loves me not for what I do. That's the sun. But this person loves me for what I am, without trying. The clothing that I wear. This girl wears those clothes. She wears green and blue, and she wears them like dresses. I wear different clothes. I wear red with a little bit of sparkle and black. And I want somebody to love me for who I am, not for what I do. But for you, you have to, I have to do things in order to feel loved and special. That's what I think. That's what I see in your chart. I don't know for sure. But if this is the case, Venus is your Atmakaraka, which means it's one of your big three. Venus wants to be loved for its flower petals. It wants to be loved for the flower. So this is an important dimension of your life, my dear. And it's important for you to feel like you have value and you have something special. And everybody does. But sometimes we have to feel it. We have to experience it. Now, what happens when we take... I said I was going to make these short, but this is just a very captivating chart. Now, what happens... How do we find the Swamsha is the next thing, folks. I'm going to get out a special little diagram because I'm going to try to do this for every person. Now, Miss Roberta, I'm sure... I don't know if you watch my channel often, but I have to do this for everybody so we can see what's happening here. So here we have your chart. We have Venus in the sign of Sagittarius at 28 degrees 45 minutes. If I could zoom in there, I would. You might not be able to see it, but this Venus is at about 28 degrees. Now, we want to find out the Swamsha. This is the next part. The Swamsha is the next part of the Vedic Big Three. We know what the Atmakaraka is. That's Venus. It's an artistic person, wants to feel beautiful, etc. Now, the Swamsha is going to give us a second layer, even more information about this person. So how do we find the Swamsha? We find out where is the Atmakaraka in the Navamsha chart. And I'm going to make a video soon, since you guys asked for it, describing how do you find the Atmakaraka. It's very simple. What we do is we're going to, let's see, I'm going to do it this way. So, am I going to have it in here? No, I guess not. When you are discovering where the Swamsha is, this is how I'm going to need to do it. So you're going to be able to see this in my video soon. I'm not going to beat you guys over the head with it. You want to find out where your planet falls in its sign. Because remember, the Atmakaraka, you're going to put it into the Navamsha chart. The Navamsha is when you break the 30 degrees of the sign. In this case, you are born with Venus in the sign of Sagittarius. That's not what I want. You're born with Venus in the sign of Sagittarius. Now, if we break Sagittarius into 30 degrees, we're going to break the 30 degrees into 9 pieces. It's 3 minutes and a third, 6 minutes and 2/3, and 10 degrees. 13 and a third, 16 and 2/3, 20 degrees. 23 and a third, 26 and 2/3, and then 30 degrees. Altogether, that's 9 pieces. That's the Navamsha. Nav means 9. And Amsha is like portions. That's what we see in this little picture here. It's a bit like the Western decanates, except instead of breaking the sign into 3 pieces of 10, we're breaking the Navamsha. We're breaking each sign into 9 pieces of 3 1/3 degrees. Now, when we look in the Navamsha, your Venus is at 28 degrees. It's between 26 and 30. So since your Venus is between 26 and 30 degrees, that's the last Navamsha, right? And what we do is we count up 9 Amshas from the cardinal sign of the birth sign's element, right? So I'm going to show a picture here. is it not there? All right. All right, now I see what I got to do. I appreciate your patience, folks. I had to squirrel around a little bit there. So this is the Navamsha wheel. So what we're going to do, I'm going to explain this really quick. We're going to take your Venus, Atmakaraka. It's in the sign of it's in the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a fire sign, and it's in the 9th Navamsha. At 28 degrees is the last Navamsha of the sign. It's between 26 and 30 degrees. So that's the farthest in a sign that a planet can be. So it's in the last Navamsha, which is the 9th portion of the sign. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go up 9 signs from the cardinal element of the sign that your Venus falls in. Your Venus falls into Sagittarius. That's a fire sign. So we're going to go up 9 signs from Aries, which is the cardinal fire sign. So Aries is 1, Taurus is 2, Gemini 3, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio. Sagittarius is the 9th Navamsha of a fire sign. This is how we find the Swamsha. This is how we find any planet in the Navamsha. Is you go up 9 amshas from the cardinal element of the birth sign. From the cardinal sign of the birth element. Sorry for the confusion there. So, we know that your Venus is in the Navamsha of Sagittarius, as we can see down here. Venus is down here in the sign, in the Navamsha chart. The chart, the 9th division, Venus is in Sagittarius. So you have what's called Vargatama Venus. It's actually a nice thing. It's when Venus is in the same sign in the birth chart as it is in the Navamsha chart. So this means that you have Venus Atmakaraka and Sagittarius Swamsha. We're doing the big 3 today, auspicious human, but we're doing the Tropical Vedic Big 3, which is the Atmakaraka, the Swamsha, and the Moon's Nakshatra. So we know the person we're talking to, Roberta, is Sagittarius Swamsha. Now, Sagittarius Swamsha is somebody who, what Jaimini tells us about Sagittarius Swamsha is it's somebody who falls from a great height. Now, what this means really is that you continually get to great heights. But Sagittarius has this way of climbing up there in order to show everybody that I'm somebody special. It has more of that energy of the sun, really. Venus does okay in the sign of Sagittarius. Venus is not bad in the sign of Sagittarius. It's considered to be neutral. It's Jupiter's not a friend to Venus, but Jupiter's not an enemy either. In fact, Jupiter is an enemy to nobody. So having Venus in the sign, in the Swamsha of Sagittarius, shows that Sagittarius is very important in your chart, and so is Jupiter. The age of 12 to 32 was important for you, Roberta, because that's the age of Venus, your Atmakaraka. Now, Venus does kind of starve Jupiter a little bit. So Venus is, when you put Venus in Sagittarius, you might find your desire for love, for passion, for human emotions, and for connections somewhat gets in the way of your Swamsha's desire. The Sagittarius desire is to be a philosophical person, to think very deeply and philosophically, and to evolve. I often talk about how Sagittarius is like, we say, in the West, we say Sagittarius is like a centaur. It's half man, half horse on the bottom. In Indian astrology, what we say, it's not a centaur, it's a man with a horse. A man or a woman walking with a horse. Now, a horse likes to run wild and free in the forest. It likes to just run, and it's going to run as fast as a horse can run out there in the forest. And at some level, it's happy. It's happy doing that. We need to let the horse run out and run free and roam free. That's Sagittarius. But Sagittarius is a mutable fire sign. which means it wants to do the wild thing. But there's also something else that Sagittarius wants. If you let that horse run free, technically it's going to do what its biological nature wants to do. It's going to go as far as the limits of his species will take it. It's going to go the fastest a horse can go. Now, what happens when a human comes along and puts a harness on that horse and brings that horse into human civilization? A lot of people may say that's a sad thing. This poor horse was running free, and now it is under the reins of a human. And the horse might not even like it at first. You can take this is the metaphor I like to use for Sagittarius. Some people don't like it. Just bear with me, try to see, even if you disagree with this, it's not a perfect image because what I'm going to say is a bit self-contradictory. All animals have their own wisdom, you see. And this is what I want to try and teach through this metaphor, is when the human gets the horse, we have two beings on different sides of the evolutionary spectrum. The horse is teaching the man to be wild and free. Now, what's the man doing? The man is teaching the horse to have purpose. He puts the harness on the horse, and the horse drags a plow around, and the plow digs up all the rows of grain for the human. Then the human can plant vegetables. The human takes care of the horse. Ideally, the human should love the horse. And when there's good things happening in the swamsha, in this case, it's a bit of a tough swamsha. There's good things and bad things happening in Sagittarius for you. Sagittarius is this person who is teaching the world to come back to its wild, back to the animal. And by doing so, they find that the only way to redeem the animal inside of us is to also make peace with the human inside of us. So there are two different spectrums on the evolutionary order of being. Sagittarius people drag us into evolution. So you are somebody who is teaching things to the world, teaching them to be better. You're like a guide. Venus is also a guru. Your ex-husband was a horse, eh? I wonder what exactly is being conveyed in that statement. He's someone who I'm sure was like a horse, and so he's probably a bit of an animal. And if I'm reading you correctly, you were a human, and you were trying to evolve him. You know what often happens with Sagittarius people, especially you are a woman, and you have Sagittarius Swamsha, and your Venus at Makaraka. A very important story for you, Roberta, a very important story for you is Peter Pan. Do you know the story of Peter Pan? I'm sure you have it in the Netherlands. Peter Pan wanted to be a boy. He didn't want to grow up. He wanted to stay like a boy. But Wendy is the woman. Wendy came to Peter Pan and said, I don't want to be young anymore. I want to grow up. I want to be mature. That's funny. Leal's legality. Peter Pan doesn't want to grow up. He says, no, I want to stay 13 years old. And Wendy has fun with it. Peter Pan teaches Wendy how to have fun being 13. You know, he runs around and he likes to be like a young boy and he's all sorts of fun. But eventually Wendy wants to grow up. She wants to have depth. She wants to have a deep relationship. She wants to have a meaningful relationship. She doesn't want to just serve him. She doesn't want to be his mother. She wants Peter Pan to grow up. For you as Venus at Makaraka, relationships are very important to you. That's Venus at Makaraka. And Venus is in Swamsha, which means you are teaching people, Sagittarius, you're teaching people about Venus, which is our gender, which is our masculine and feminine energies, which is our relationships. So you are teaching the men in your life to no more Peter Pan. It's time to grow up. And the men are like horses, like your husband, your ex-husband. Your ex-husband was a horse, and he wanted to stay a horse. Ah, you're a teacher. Amazing. Your ex-husband was like a horse, and you were pulling him, no more being a horse, no more being Peter Pan. It's time for us to grow up. It's time for us to live in God's plan. God has a plan for us to grow up, to evolve. And you are teaching men and women in your life to evolve through their humanity, through Venus, through their gender, through their psychology. And you probably had a hard go of this. If I was to read your chart, we would talk about what's happening in Sagittarius. Because whenever there's something happening in the Swamsha, it's going to be a huge thing in this person's life. In this case, the Sun and Rahu are shaming Venus and Mercury, which means you might have been ashamed of your own womanhood, and you're ashamed of talking. Mercury is talking. You wanted to talk with people about all of the things that you have to teach. You have lots to teach. This is important because we have to also look at the opposite, which is Gemini. We have to look at the opposite of the Swamsha, which is Gemini. So in order to teach like Sagittarius, in order to be a good philosopher, you have to use Gemini. You have to teach. And you have to teach what's within to the person who's in front of you. Mercury is sensitive to myself and the other person. Now you have Mercury is shamed in your chart, which means probably from age 3 to age 12, you should look at, and when you're 3 years old to 12 years old, that's the age of Mercury. Okay? So Roberta, think when you were at age 3, 4, age 5, age 6, age 7, all the way to age 12. That's Mercury. Something would have caused you to be quiet. Maybe you lived with 18 siblings, and you were the youngest sibling. So everybody said, okay, Roberta, be quiet. Shh, Roberta, you're bothering me. Be quiet. You're too young. You don't know what you're talking about. Shush, be quiet. You went to Belgium with 4. J. So, Roberta, it was important for you. It's important for you that you learn to be happy with your talking. You talk freely from your heart. And it might be painful. It might cause you shame. You talk with your lover and you want to tell them, honey, I want to wake up in the morning. You know, if you have a lover, a husband, and he wakes up and he's a brute, and he makes his toast, toast, right? He makes his toast. He puts butter on the toast, and he leaves these crumbs. He leaves all these breadcrumbs on the counter, and he doesn't clean them up. And you go to your husband, you have a very squeaky voice, and you say, excuse me, husband, could you please clean up the breadcrumbs when you're done? And he says, no, I don't need to clean up those breadcrumbs. That's not important. You're my wife. Just do it for me. Clean the house. Make me a sandwich. You can feel Venus and Mercury are shamed. And when you try to talk, person goes like this. You, my dear, if you want to teach the world about how to be a strong woman, you have to fix your voice. Yeah? You have to fix your voice. And you have to, you might want to learn to sing. You might want to, especially because Sagittarius is the 3rd house. You might be a good singer, actually, with Mars and Sagittarius in the 2nd house. It's good for you to use your voice to talk with people and to be true. Be true in your communication. This is the Venus working through the Swamsha and working out everything that's happening in the Swamsha, which is Sagittarius. Now, the last thing for this reading, this turned out to be about longer than a half an hour, so that's okay. This is how this has to go. I thought it was going to be quick, but I'm happy with this. Next, we're looking up the moon's nakshatra. So the moon is in 28 degrees of Taurus. You're Kritika. I love Kritika moon. So now we're looking at the third thing, which is the moon's nakshatra. So the moon's nakshatra is, there in Vedic astrology, we have 27 constellations. No problem, Roberta. We have 27 constellations. The 27 constellations are the star constellations that are created by the moon. The moon goes to a new lunar constellation every day. And where the moon falls in your birth chart, in the 27 Vedic constellations, is going to tell us a lot about who you are. Now, let's make sure if you're not too much on a cusp here. Yeah, fourth pada. Okay, let me see when this changes. Moon in Kritika, moon in Kritika, 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 Kritika. Yeah, okay. Rohini, that's about 5 hours ahead. Let me just see this. 1:36. You're a little bit on the cusp of Kritika, but the nakshatras, unfortunately, in today's time, the nakshatras are they're hard to define, because as a tropical Vedic astrologer, I define it differently than the old Indian folks do. But that's okay. It seems to me you're probably Kritika nakshatra. So, Kritika nakshatra is somebody who is very initiating, somebody who cuts through things. Now, when we hear about Kritika nakshatra, we say, Agniye Kritikaha Shukram Parastaj Jyotiravastat. So this means fire's cataclysm. Agniye Kritikaha. Fire is a cutting. And it needs fuel in order to give the light. So what this means in some ways, Kritika moon, this is your nakshatra. Your Kritika. This is sharp, brilliant, very active and energetic. You have lots of energy. And you can be cutting. You can be very hard, very sharp. And this is part of who you are. This can actually help you in some ways, but it can also be difficult when it comes to your Atmakaraka and your Swamsha. You see, you, as Venus Atmakaraka, you want to be soft. You want to be careful. You want to say the right things to people. You want to help. You want to make people feel your softness. You want people to feel your softness. And Kritika is sharp. It's cutting. It's forceful. So sometimes you come out with this forceful way. But this is part of, if you as a passionate Venus person, your passion can come through Kritika nakshatra and the moon. You have a moon that can be very adventurous and very strong. You can actually be a strong woman. And this is how the moon wants to be. Now, it looks to me in your chart, the moon is in Taurus, which is a nice place for the moon. The moon is also delighted by its friend Mercury. The moon is your strongest planet in some ways, although Mars is also very strong. Mars and the moon are kind of tied in your chart. So the moon is pretty strong for you. And this is very nice because it helps the Venus. The moon is helping Venus in this chart. And so the moon is part of the female essence, and it's lovesick. You want to experience deep soul love, not because you are Venus, because you are valuable. You know what? You know, the moon is man, woman, all that stuff. The moon wants to just feel truly loved, again, for what she is. And you as Kritika, you want to be loved for being someone who is an activator. You activate people. As Kritika, it's Agni, it's fire. Kritika is a very fiery energy. But it can make you harsh and unsympathetic. So the moon has strong inspiration, and you're very motivated. But you have to be careful not to be too harsh. You're a good motivator. You get people running and jumping and starting with things. And people love you for this. And you will find a partner who loves you because you are spicy, a little bit hot on the tongue. Like, ooh, hot. You should find a lover who loves you for that. I love Roberta because she's so spicy. She's so fiery. She's adventurous. She's a little dangerous. She's fun. But this means that sometimes you will be too sharp, too harsh. So listen, use your Mercury and listen to the other person. And you have to listen with Mercury. You have to give them a deal. That's what Venus wants to do. Give them a good deal. If you want your husband to stop with the crumbs, your husband put the breadcrumbs on the counter, and you say to your husband, you should clean up those breadcrumbs. Do you know how much I do for you? I clean and I do this and I do this. And the husband's like, Kritika should be a bit funny and make a good deal. Now, if you want me to keep doing these good things, if you clean up these breadcrumbs, we will be happier. And I'll do something for you. You know, he should do it anyway. But Kritika, with the sharpness, needs to be intelligent. How do I make my husband clean up the breadcrumbs instead of just being with fire? So at 69 years old, you're learning to do this. I'm glad to hear that, Roberta. A woman becomes very strong in her moon over time, and you have a good moon. So don't be afraid to be spicy. Don't be afraid to be intelligent and make a good deal. Make a good, strong deal. And yes, Itzel's right. It's almost your birthday. So happy almost birthday, Roberta. Roberta, my dear, I hope that you enjoyed this. We've described your Venus Atmakaraka, your Sagittarius Swamsha, and Kritika Moon. That's the Tropical Vedic Big 3. And it took a little longer than I thought, but I think that this is how this has to go. You have a very compelling chart, Roberta. I have high hopes for you. I hope that you enjoyed this reading today. Thank you so much for being a part of my show today. Now, everybody, I got to do Thanksgiving today, so we might only have time for one or two more of these. You're 70. Yeah, you're turning 70, I guess. So happy birthday. Happy birthday. Your birthday's coming, Roberta. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. Now, for everybody watching, I love to do this work, as I always like to say, but I am learning that it's good for me to put my PayPal out there for anybody who might decide to do a tip. Now, don't feel obliged to do a tip, but if you feel like it, I have a link here that sends you to PayPal, and then you can do donations there. But I didn't say that in the beginning. You don't have to. I'm doing this because it's good for me to teach about the Big 3. But I am teaching myself that it's good for me to put my donation, put the tip jar out there. And for anybody else watching, keep in mind, everybody, I'm going to be doing these the Vedic Big 3 that you see, that you see here. It's not going to be this long. It's going to be a little 3-minute video. So, pay attention to my YouTube channel. You're going to see me. I'm going to put out a little short that tells how you get a tiny little... It's okay, Roberta. No worries. Take your time and do your move, and you don't even have to pay me. But I'm just happy that we got to exchange. Now, for everybody watching, I'm going to do a little YouTube video, and I'm going to say, everybody, if you want to do this tiny little video, it's going to be 3 minutes long. It's going to describe your Atmakarika, your Swamsha, your Nakshatra. It's going to be 3 minutes. It's going to be the shorts style, like, TikTok videos. It's going to be like a TikTok video. And you can put it on your TikTok, you can put it on your Instagram, and it's going to be me talking about your big 3 for 3 minutes. Now, if you want to do this, all you have to do is... so the reason I'm doing this is because I want people to join my email list. So go to dustincormier.com/subscribe, join my email list. You're going to get a free copy of my short story called Thread. And then you can download Thread. And when you download Thread, I want you to read the book. It's only a short story. It's not too long. And tell me the instrument that the main character is playing. The main character in the story is playing an instrument. If you know it, don't put it in the chat box. We don't want to ruin it. Tell me the main character's instrument and send it to me through an email here at astrology@dustincormier.com. If you send me an email and you tell me the instrument that he's playing, then I'm going to do this little video for you for free that you can get out there. And you can tell it to the world in order to help us spread the word about the Tropical Vedic Big 3. So I'm going to be making a video about it soon. Keep your eyes peeled for it. Oh, and I also want you to send me a little picture of yourself, if you feel like it, that shows who you are. Send me your best picture that shows the essence of who and what you are. Now, everybody, let's try and squeeze 2 more of these in here. I got to go pee. Let's do a quick bathroom break. And when we come back, we're going to do another reading. For free, I'm going to pick a number. You're going to put your birth time in. Don't put your birth time in yet, though. Let's do a bathroom break, a quickie, and then we'll come back and we'll continue our journey. I'll see you guys in just a sec. Bonjour. How it do, how it do. Okay, folks, it's nice to see you all. Now, thank you again to Roberta. Let's give her a nice golf clap, yes. Very well done, Roberta. Thank you for volunteering your chart and volunteering your time for us to learn about the Atmakarika and the Swamsha and the moon's nakshatra. I appreciate you very much, my dear. I'm very glad to have you being a part of our reading today. Now, let's do another one, folks. put in your birth time. Now's the time. Put in your birth time, your birth date, and your birthplace. For those who are just watching, we're about to dive into the Vedic Big Three, Tropical Vedic Big Three, which is the Atmakarika, the Swamsha, the Moon's Nakshatra. Now is the time to put in your birth information. Feel free to throw it in there. And if you get picked, you are going to get a little rendition of your Big Three. So now is the time, everybody. If you are interested in this, if you want to be a part of our reading today. Hey there, Maria Antonia Alvarez. It's nice to see you. Sebastian, nice to have you guys here. Robin Scott, nice to see you. Put in your birth information now, folks, and you will have a chance to have your Tropical Big Three read. The Tropical Vedic Big Three is the new thing that we're talking about. My friend Corey Dowds from Eye of the Veda is kind of the guy who got this out here. It's funny. I don't know if you noticed, but my directions are switched on the camera, so that's why. Corey Dowds from Eye of the Veda was kind of the one who pushed, he was the first one to come out and say, here's the real Tropical Vedic Big Three. And he's a beauty himself. He's done a lot of work for the Tropical Vedic Astrology community, so I'm kind of just, ringing his bell. He deserves it. He's very intelligent. He knows his stuff. I recommend checking him out. Okay, everybody. So we've got quite a few people who have volunteered. And it's nice to see some members here. Keep in mind, I should say this first. When you're a member of my channel, Hatterock Astrology, that you're going to have an early chance to do this stuff. For example, we're doing these videos here talking about the Vedic Big Three. Eventually, I'm going to do these tiny little videos that are 3 minutes long. I was just explaining that. Little TikTok videos. And my members of my channel are going to be the first ones to get an opportunity to get these little readings. So if you want to be a part of that, if you want to be in, there's sometimes where I do members-only videos, members-only posts, and members are going to be the first ones who get a chance to get these tiny little readings. Once all my members are done, then I'm going to give it to the general public. So if you want to get in on that early, if you want to get these little videos that I'm doing like this one, but a little bit more condensed, if you want to get in on it, I recommend you join my membership. Now, we have quite a few people here. We have quite a few names. Let's start digging into our next reading for today. Maria, my dear, I wonder why you haven't been able to be a member. Now, the membership's going to look a little different if you're on a phone than it does if you're on a desktop. What you want to do is you go to my channel, and you should see right underneath the first video that comes up, it should say Our Members. It says, thank you, channel members. There's a button there where you can click Join, and you should be able to join.
Very nice to see
So
you
I'm not sure why you wouldn't be able to find it, but hopefully as time goes on, well, I'm not stressing for you to join, Maria, but hopefully you can get in on it because we've got some good stuff coming in the near future. But Maria, you've been on here for a long time. A join button. It says join. Yeah. It should be there on the main page. Are you on a desktop, Maria, or are you on a phone? Because when you're on the desktop, it's a little bit different. I'm just going to sign back into my chat here. There's Gunmetal Crow. Nice to see you, my friend. Okay. I got you, Maria. No worries, honey. Maria, you've been on here long enough. If you email me and you send me the information that I mentioned that I'm going to be talking about on my channel in the post soon, Maria, you're a part of this. You're already a member, even if you're not paying, just because you've been with me for so long. Now, Itzel, you tried to go to PayPal from the link. It took you to your PayPal. So Itzel, yeah, that's a little funny. I'm glad to hear that. Just in case, Itzel, I'm going to do it this way. Thanks for your patience, everybody. I need to figure these things out. pal.me/DustinCormier91. Love right back at you, Maria, honey. Now, Itzel, if you feel like it, that should be my PayPal. Hopefully that should bring you right to it. Now, Itzel, if you are on PayPal, you're going to look up my email, which is this. That's the email that you would look up, howtorockcampfire@gmail.com. That is my PayPal email, and that's how you would pay me. I got to figure all these out. I got to get myself on PayPal through my official email, but I digress. So thank you, everybody. Gunmetal Crow, it's a pleasure to have you as a member. And Gunmetal Crow, you were going to get a chance early on to have these tiny little videos that I've been talking about. Now, thank you to everybody, to Itzel, to Maria, to Gunmetal Crow. While we're here, we've got a few people who have their birth times out. Let's pick a name, and let's start doing our second reading for today. I'm going to think of a number between 1 and a billion, and I'm going to say 900 million. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm going to pick a number, let's say 23. I always like 23. That's a special one. That's the number of tarot on here. And I'm going to go from the bottom, starting at Lucas. Actually, no, I'm going to start in the middle today. I'm going to start from Maria, and I'm going to go up. And I'm going to count 23. I'm picking a number, and I'm going to choose one of the birth times that have been given in this thing. So you might get a chance for your reading today if you're watching. Let's check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Wow. Well, that worked out pretty good. I swear to God, I don't make these things up, folks. It worked out pretty well. Maria Antonia, my dear, you have been chosen today as our guinea pig for the Tropical Vedic Big 3. So, Maria, you're going to get a big one anyway. But I'm still going to, you can keep me in mind, because the tiny little videos are their own special thing. But today, you are going to get a reading, a real big reading, on the Tropical Vedic Big 3. So I'm happy, my dear, that you got chosen today. So congratulations, Maria. I wonder if I've done a reading for you yet, Maria. I feel like you've been following me for a long time, and I haven't done anything like this for you. So I'm happy to do it now. Now I have you as Maria Antonia Alvarez. Let's see. Let's get you December 12th. December 21st, 1996. Bogota, Colombia. At 2. So that's 14:47. I love a very exact birth time when I can help it. Colombia. Bogota. Bolivar. Oh, there's two very... Yeah, I guess Colombia is huge, so... Yeah, so awesome. Awesome, Maria. I'm so glad to be doing this for you. Now, Maria, my dear, what's the province of the Bogota that you're in? I've got Bogota Bolivar, Bogota Cundinamarca, Bogota Huila, Bogota San Andres y Providencia. All of those are very far away from each other in very different places. Hello there, Sun Soul T. Very nice to see you. So let me know, Maria, where in Bogota you are. I just received, now I'm going to say the name that it's here. Some people don't like me to say the name on YouTube of the YouTube member. So I'm going to say a person named Elizabeth just gave me a donation. I'm very happy for it. Thank you very much for taking the time to do that for me and sending that donation. Bogota, Cundinamarca. Got it. Cundinamarca. Gracias. Okay. Now that's very interesting. Oh, we have another Kritika. Excellent. That's going to burn the themes in our brain a little bit here. So we have another Kritika moon, everybody. So Maria, my dear, what I have is I have a chart here with you being Taurus rising, and this is a probably just a beautiful Taurus rising with the moon in Taurus. The moon is technically in the sign of its exaltation here, and it's leaning towards being full, and it's in the first house. So that is just an absolutely spanking moon, very close to the rising sign. There's probably great lunar beauty happening there. Now we have got a very strong sun. Venus and Saturn are two planets that are indicated to have a little bit of trouble. Yes. Yeah, so you were born right at the place where Saturn is at a very fickle place in your chart. It's in the 12th house. It's with Ketu. You were born in this particular year of 1996 when this was the case. Now, the fact that it's in your 12th house gives it a little bit of extra trickiness. There's a lot of indications going on for this Saturn. And it's interesting that it's square to this stellium of Jupiter, Mercury, and the Sun in Capricorn. It's also interesting. Good. This is a good chart for us to be reading today. Particularly, it's instructive of how the Atmakarika works. And so let's start digging into it a little bit here. Now, Maria, my friend, today we are discussing the big three. We have Atmakarika, which is the planet that is the highest degrees in your chart. And it is the Atma. Just like the sun is the Atma, the Atmakarika is like a second sun. So whatever planet is the highest degrees in our chart, not including Rahu, Ketu, or Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, or any of the asteroids, it's only the classical 7 planets: Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn. Of those 7 planets, which one has the highest degrees in its sign? That's going to give us the Atmakarika. Then we're going to find that planet in the Navamsha, and that's going to give us the Swamsha. I'm trying to make it so that I can see my finger here. That's the Swamsha. And then we're going to talk about the Moon's Nakshatra, which is Kritika for you, which we know is going to be similar to the last lady that we did, which is going to, it's spicy. It's got a little bit of heat on the tongue. It's got sharp, it's critical, and it's actually, all of these qualities play into the Atmakarika that you have. There are several indications of this sharpness in your chart. So, the Atmakarika, being the planet with the highest degrees, in my little Kala software, I have it in the top right corner here, we see that Mars is the Atmakarika. So, where is Mars falling? It is falling in none other than the sign of Virgo. And that is not Mars' favorite place. Mars is starved by Mercury in the sign of Virgo. That's one spank happening to Mars here. But thankfully Mars is easy to kind of bring back into harmony because Mars has three friends. It's got the Sun, Moon, and Jupiter. From Mars's position, the Moon is in trine to Mars, and the Moon is exalted, the Moon is bright, so that Moon is really helping that Mars out a lot. We also have the Sun. Yeah, we've got a trine of the three masculine planets all in the Earth signs, which is interesting. Although it's a little bit tricky because Jupiter is debilitated. And also Jupiter is technically kind of getting wrapped up by Mercury. But thankfully, if I'm not mistaken, those two planets are not combust the Sun. That's a huge bonus. There's no combustion happening in this chart, which means that the Chestabala is pretty happening, except for the Sun. Jupiter's Chestabala, right. Jupiter is too close to the Sun, technically, but it's not combust. In any case, Jupiter's having a little tough time in this chart. It's technically, but it's not combust the Sun. So Sun, Jupiter, Moon, and Mars are in a trine. We have a nice trine happening between the four masculine planets. And they're all kind of helping each other, especially this nice exalted Moon is really helping to keep things flowing. The Moon is the feminine character inside of you that allows you to feel like yourself, to feel like a woman, and to listen to your heart. You know, it's worth saying, I'm going to explain this because this is something I might make a video about it at some point. Literally this morning, I had a vision, and it was a very simple vision. I'm somebody who kind of wakes up whenever I want to wake up, which is a nice thing. I'm at my cottage. I'm a writer. And as I was sleeping in my bed, this is the vision that came to me, is that when we are asleep, it's the light that wakes us up. Now, imagine that the mind is like light coming in through a stained glass window. When we are asleep, it's the light that wakes us up, but it's the image on the glass that gets us out of bed. What is the image? What is the form? What is the consciousness? What is the heart? The Moon is the image in the glass. The Sun is the light. It's energy. It's vitality. But the Moon is the image that we're dreaming of, that lives in our heart, that causes us to get up and get out of bed. So for you, Maria, there is an indication of the Moon being strong in your chart, and it being something. It's your strongest Shadbala planet. It's your strongest in everything. You're a Moon gal, honey. The Moon is your strongest Shadbala planet, and it's also your strongest Stanabala, which means you've got that juicy, feminine, loving Moon energy really pouring out of you. And it's a very important part of who you are, I would say. It's a great blessing to have the Moon like it is in your chart. It's got good yoga power, and it's got the strongest yoga power out of all the planets in your chart. It's a really nice thing because you have a tough Saturn, and the Moon is really going to help to sort of bring that together. Now, Saturn with Ketu in the 12th house shows some difficulty for the Moon. Yeah, one of these days, Maria, I'm going to sit down and really... I've got to do a reading with you because the Saturn and Ketu in Aries in the 12th house from the Moon and the 12th house in general in the chart has some tough indications. It basically shows that there's a negativity mindset that can happen sometimes, which the Moon is constantly shedding. This is a life where you're probably doing a lot of inner work to shed some fears that exist in Saturn in the 12th house. And love and self-love, the truth of what you are, is really going to help that, especially with the moon in Kritika. So I'm glad we got to talk about that a little bit. Now, let's talk about the big three. We've got the Atmakarika, the Swamsha, and the Nakshatra. The Atmakarika for this person is Mars. Mars is the highest degree planet in this chart. Mars Atmakarika is somebody who is very driven, somebody who wants to actually be a little bit of a protector. And this is going to, how this Mars works and what it does depends on what Mars rules in the chart. For a Taurus rising, Mars rules the 12th house and the 7th house. So Mars ruling the 12th house and the 7th house, Scorpio is a bit like Taurus, where its 7th house is also its 12th house. So there's a scorpion, you know, a scorpion, when it loves somebody, it completely gives everything to that love. Well, when a scorpion loves somebody. What I mean by that is that when a scorpion has its stinger, and it's the type of scorpion, it's like a bee with a stinger. When it's not like a hornet or a wasp. A wasp bites, but a bee will sting, and it'll die when it stings to save the queen. A scorpion stings somebody, and it literally dies when it stings. So it's better be sure that when it stings, it knows that it's going to be carried into the next life with greater goodness and clarity and love. Metaphorically speaking, Scorpio and Taurus allow themselves to die through their relationship. Because for a Taurus rising, the same planet that rules the 7th house, which is Mars, the planet of relationship, for a Taurus rising, Scorpio rules the 7th house, and Aries rules the 12th house. And Aries is the more important signifier for Mars. So this love relationship dimension of this chart is going to be very important. The feeling not only that we are diving passionately into love, but interestingly for Taurus, you know, they say each planet has a Mula Trikona, which is the main ruling sign. For Mars, Scorpio is not as strong an indicator as Aries. Aries is more true to what Mars is. Mars is a masculine planet. Aries is the masculine sign. Scorpio is the feminine sign of Mars. Aries is the masculine sign. So Aries is the deep key to understanding Mars, and it's the place where Mars really stands. It's its Mula Trikona, it's its root trine, it's its root. So Aries is the big key to understanding what Mars's psyche is really all about. So the 12th house is really an important indicator for what we can expect from the psyche of this Mars Atmakarika in a Taurus rising chart. It's a 12th house energy, so there's a spirituality here. The spirituality is a letting go of things in the past. Depending what's going on in the 12th house, there are indications that this is a person who has things in the past, from the past lives, to let go of. We would see this in Ketu, and we would see this in the 12th house. Also the 8th house, even the 4th house. All the water houses have a past life soul energy to them. And usually with the water houses, there's an indication that we have to conscript ourselves to something. Something happens in our lives that we dedicate ourselves to, and it's painful. But it's not necessarily because of something painful that it's not like you're whacking your hand with a hammer and saying, ow, ow, ow. It's more like there's something good that you need to get from that thing. But it is pain. With water houses, it's like poisoned mother's breast milk. It's like poisoned breast milk. We need the breast milk, but there's a poison in it. And this is the case, especially not necessarily. It's mostly an 8th house thing and a Scorpio thing. With a 12th house like this has a little bit of this energy of a poisoned mother's breast milk. And it's there's a spirituality. There is something in your soul with this tough Saturn. Saturn's pretty tough in this chart. And the fact that it's in the 12th house from the moon shows that this is somebody who needs to do a lot of work of internally working inside the consciousness to let go of, I'm going to use this word carefully because you have to understand when it comes to things like this, it's all has to do with genetic memory, your ancestors, your early childhood. That's what these things come from. And the word I was going to say is demons. You know, I have a lot of demons. When we talk about demons, it's not like evil spirits. You know, consider that however much you may be. It's not that I don't believe in them. It's that I am of the personal understanding that demons come from our own consciousness. And so this is somebody who has stuff to work through from stuff that's happened in the past, and it causes a sensitivity and a fear. And you, eventually, life is going to call you to do some work with meditation especially. You know, Maria, especially because you are Mars Atmakaraka, you are somebody who is born with a sword in your hand. And even Kritika Nakshatra is like this too, where you're going to be cutting and tough. Now, somebody once told me, I've got a very good Mars in my chart. And somebody once told me, I don't have too much troubles with ghosts or with mental things bothering me because I don't go looking for them. I don't allow them, I don't look for them, I don't open myself to them because I'm so busy with what I do in my life. And I do a lot of work inside of myself. And I don't think when I'm doing that work, I don't go looking for demons. I focus on the love and the truth that's right in front of me, that's important for me. So I don't go looking for those things. I don't invite damaging, fearful, negative things. You don't want to run from what's happened in your past, but you don't want to allow it to have power over you and to let your mind think about these things too much. It's a subtle thing. It's a subtle way to describe it. But ultimately, the point here is, as time goes on, Saturn and Ketu are going to teach you how to make peace with what has happened to you in the past. And Mars is also going to do the same. Mars is an important planet in this chart for understanding that Mars ruling Scorpio, it's teaching us to have a strong back, a strong backside. You see, Mars, I'm not a hockey guy, but I'm Canadian, and we play hockey up in Canada. When you're playing hockey, you have the goalie, you have defense, and then you have the offense. The goalie, the guy who stops the ball, just like soccer, football, right? In football, you have the goalie. He stops the ball from getting in the net. That's Saturn. Saturn is a little bit tough in your chart. It's good to be conscious of having this goalie, of not letting bad people into our lives, not letting bad thoughts into us that are going to harm us, not eating bad food. These are things that with a Saturn like yours, it's good to work on these things. I deserve good food. I am good because everyone is good. Everyone has goodness inside them. And we attract what we think about. And it's good for you to focus on what is it in my mind that causes me to think thoughts that aren't good for me. And how do I make friends with that? How do I learn to understand what causes my mind to think about things that aren't good for me? How do I make peace with them? Mars has a sharpness as Mars Atmakaraka that's going to teach you to look inside yourself and make peace with what you are and who you are. And you might find that one of the good ways to do this, a nice secret key to exploring what is happening inside of you that causes your mind to work the way it does, is by the introspection involved with other people. Whether it's relationships, it's trusted individuals, and again, therapy. When you talk with people and you really let people into your heart through Scorpio, you might find that you're learning a lot about yourself that you couldn't learn on your own. You might have a psychological turn of mind because Mars rules Mars rules the 7th house of others and introspection, the mirror of yourself. And Mars also rules the 12th house. And Mars is in the 5th house. When Mars is in the 5th house, there's a creativity that comes with your sharpness, that comes from the psychology of Mars and Scorpio. Scorpio is the defense. Saturn is the goalie playing football. He's looking to keep the ball out of the net. And then there's the defenseman, and that's Mars. So for you, Maria, as Mars Atmakaraka, there's two things happening for you. You are a defenseman, which means you're stopping the ball. You don't want the ball to go towards the goalie. That's what defense does, is it stops the ball from getting towards the goalie. If someone kicks past the defense, the goalie is our last line, the last one that stops the ball from getting in. But before it gets to the goalie, if you've got a good defense, you don't even need a goalie if you've got a good defense. And Mars is okay in your chart. It's worth noting that there are some significations of some difficulty with Mars. It has its difficulties as well, but it's particularly because it doesn't like a sign of Virgo, and it prefers to be in the top of the chart. But Mars is your Atmakaraka. And that's what's nice about the Atmakaraka, is that we always have an intrinsic, there's a grace. No matter what is going on with our Atmakaraka, the universe gives us a bit of rope, a bit of play with the Atmakaraka, because it's who we are. It's intrinsic to what we are. So you are a protector, and you are somebody who's probably strong with psychology. You have your Atmakaraka Mars is in the 5th house. So there's a creative intelligence that you apply to relationships and to your own psyche when you're in relationship. So when you're working creatively with another person, you probably see glimpses of yourself. And these glimpses are going to help you work through your 12th house. Because you also have Ketu there, Maria, you see the Ketu is the true candy, it's the true objective, it's the true goal of every chart, especially in Tropical Vedic Astrology, but also in evolutionary astrology. Ketu is the main evolutionary narrative. That's what we're all doing here, is working out our Ketu. It's a nice thing to have Ketu in the 12th house. If you look up Ketu in the 12th house, you're going to see that it's the most favorable place for Ketu. This is a big blessing in this chart. You're going to find, Maria, that it's tough while you're young, up to about age 36. When you're age 36, you will find that you start to bring in the Libra Rahu. But until then, you've got to understand that everything happens to you for a reason. And up to age 36, you're moving through Ketu, and it might be a little bit difficult. But have hope, Maria, because when you get to the latter part of your life, you're going to be a very strong individual. Ketu in the 12th house, you see Ketu is the planet of liberation. And when you have it in your 12th house, there's a signification that you are liberating. It's possible that you're an old soul and that you've done a lot of living. And now you're learning to let go of things that no longer serve you. There's a strong spirituality inside of you. Not only because you have Ketu in the 12th house, but because Mars is your Atmakaraka and Mars rules Aries, which is your 12th house. So there is an intelligence when it comes to liberation, when it comes to possibly yoga, to working out difficulties in life. When I'm actually alive, not dead anymore. Miss Faye or Mr. Faye. I have one more reading to do after this, but we're not doing donations today, Faye. We're just doing free readings. And we're learning all about the Tropical Vedic Big 3. I'm going to do one more reading after my friend Maria here. So stay tuned. You might have a chance at a free reading. And if you're interested, you can get a reading from me by going to astrology@dustincormier.com. I do readings for $1 per minute if you're interested, as well as bigger readings. Now, thank you, Faye. It's nice to have you here. So Maria, being Mars Atmakaraka, there's a psychology of Scorpio there, but there's also a sharpness. And this sharpness relates to the moon in Kritika. And in relationships, just like our last person, Roberta, when you're in relationship with somebody, it's important for you to speak your boundaries, to say, this is what I want, this is what I don't want, and to learn what those boundaries are. Now, because you have Mars in Virgo, this harms Mars and Virgo a little bit, which might mean that you have a little bit difficulty with communicating. It might show that when you talk to people, there's like a frustrated energy. This might be caused from when you were younger. You might have experienced, especially from age 1 to 3 is the age of Mars, right? Age 0 to 1 is the moon. We're nothing but a mouth. We're receiving the goodness from the world. You might have had a good experience with your moon from age 0 to 1. You might have felt like your parents loved you. You didn't have any problems. It's a very good thing to have a good moon in the chart. It sets us up for success. That's another blessing in this chart. And don't forget it. You have a good moon, which means from age 0 to 1, the universe had guides for you. You almost have guardian angels that have set you up with a deep feeling that I am supposed to be here on this planet. Having a good moon can do that. Now from age 1 to 3, this would have been an important age because that's the terrible twos. That's the age of Mars. And at that time, the age of Mars, you would have learned a lot already. Things would have started happening from age 1 to 3, which is still very young. You would have started the journey of developing on difficulties at that time and the need to use your boundaries, the need to say, I want this and I don't want this. Things that would have already started to give you the work that you're going to do with the rest of your life in making peace with your unconscious in the 12th house. This is happening in Aries, which means from age 1 to 3, that's the age of Mars. That's when you would have, A, gotten the work that you have to do, and B, gotten the tools to do it. And part of the tools of Mars is saying, this is my candy. This is my life. This is my spaghetti. You're like a little 2-year-old, and you go over to the neighboring table and you say, this is my spaghetti. And the person's like, don't touch that spaghetti. That's not yours. You learning the shock of knowing that you have power, but you have to use that power in a constructive way through logic, through intelligence, and through sometimes just doing what's on your instincts and being disciplined constructively. Now, your parents might have been very sensitive to discipline, and it might have caused you great pain. But this is part of what you need to learn in this life, is that discipline can be good for you, but you have to not take it personally. Don't take it personally when the universe disciplines you. Don't take it personally when your parents discipline you. Don't take it personally when your lover disciplines you and says, this is what I need to be happy. Because your lover needs to be able to come out and be angry, just like you need to be angry. Anger is important. Anger is important for all of us. Anger is especially important for someone like you. Working through anger and things that have happened in your life that have repressed your anger. You're probably very steaming with a lot of anger and hot energy, probably all the time, because we have Ketu, the past life symbol, in the sign of Aries. You know, if you've got Ketu in Aries, you're somebody who's bristling with this anger energy, and that's no big deal. But because Ketu is with Saturn in the 12th house of the rising sign and the 12th house from the moon, and Mars is the Atmakaraka, which rules Aries, all this brings together very important themes related to anger. And you have to find out how to make peace with your anger, understand that it's a tool for your evolution. Don't treat it like this annoying thing, I'm sorry I get so angry. If you have a lover, they have to understand that you are a woman who has lots of anger, and that anger can be used as an instrument of divine realization. But you have to treat it that way, Maria. You are an instrument of divine realization, and everything that you feel inside of you is God's voice. You just have to learn how to get in alignment with it, to listen to it, and to use it. Because this anger, when it comes out with emotions and pain, there's a strength there that will turn you when you're older, especially. You've got to, while you're younger, it's going to be probably a little bit tough. Especially because you're going through the Rahu Mahadasha until 2034. When you're 37 years old, which is right around age 36. You know, I'm giving you a good reading here, Maria, and it's okay. I'm watching my time and I'm realizing this is what I got Sagittarius moon. You are going to be in the Jupiter period starting 2034. That's when you're 37 years old. Your Rahu is actually going to really come out at that point. You're going to come into the Jupiter period, which will be a nice little break, because the Rahu period's tough for everybody. So at age 36, things should start to get a little bit easier. Up till then, you're in the Rahu Mahadasha, and you're going through an angry Ketu energy. Be patient with yourself and know that all of the tough experiences you have while you're young are going to be like, how do I describe it? How old are you? 1996. Okay, I can say this. It's like when you're having sex with somebody and it's very intense and it's like madly passionate and tough and hard and physically hard. It makes you sore. That soreness that you have in the moment is going to be deeply satisfying later on in life. When it's like, wow, it's like the storm has passed and now I get to sit in the rejuvenating nervous system of my body and to experience that's the other side of that positive soreness. That's a very Scorpio way of saying that, ladies and gentlemen. I am a Scorpio after all. I often say, when it comes to having sex, if you're not sore, then you're sorry. Anyway, enough Scorpio energy, my lord. You've suffered from migraines for years, but now you're getting better. I'm very glad to hear that, Maria. Now, this is how your life is moving through at the moment. Eduardo, if I wasn't sure, if Maria was like, I don't know, I recently counseled somebody who was like 20 years old or younger. When I'm someone who's 20 or younger, I'm a little bit different with my language. You know what I mean? After a person's 20 years old, we can deal. You know, even 20 is a little young. You know, 25-ish is when I can. anyone who's 20 years old is going to be watching my channel anyway, and I say this kind of stuff. But when I'm counseling a person directly, younger than 20, I'm going to be a bit less Scorpio, Leo. That's kind of how I roll. Just to make sure I'm not bending any sensitive parts of a person while they're too young, you know. But I digress. Maria, I'm glad that I mentioned that in the way that I did. Now, we are a Mars Atmakarika person. This Aries energy that happened from age 1 to age 3 when you were very young would have moved through anger at that time. Terrible 2 energy, dignity, strength, and using your voice. And there was something very important that happened at that age. And now from age 3 to age 12, remember we have Mars in the sign of Virgo. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. The age of Mercury is from age 3 to age 12. So from age 3 to age 12, you would have experienced Virgo energy, which is all about talking things through. It's not about grabbing anymore. It's not about necessarily being angry. It's about talking about how do I deal with my anger. Now, because you have Mars in Virgo, where Mars isn't too happy in Virgo, it gets very scattered. Mars likes to, it's like when you're in defense, you don't think too much. You just get the ball. Go get the ball. Make sure it doesn't get in the net. Mars thinks like snap logic. But when Mars is in Virgo, it has a way of overthinking, overanalyzing. You know what we say about Mars in Virgo is you're in a battlefield and you've got this rifle and you're looking at who you want to shoot and you're thinking about what would be the best way for me to go about this. I could go to the left flank, I can go to the right flank, but maybe I should go through the middle. Well, what would happen if I go to the left? If I go to the left, bang, you get shot in the head. You shouldn't have been thinking too much about it. With Mars, when it comes to all the things signified by Mars, when you feel anger, essentially, when you feel anger, it's good for you to act on the anger, act on instinct. That's going to help you develop the Mars, which is your Atmakarika, which is the important thing for you. If you are in a relationship and you and a person are talking and you talk so much that you give the person to talk and you listen and it stops your voice, instead of letting your voice stop, you should kind of just say what's on your mind. Sometimes, though, we have to listen in relationship, too. When it comes to listening, don't let your mind grind into a million different thoughts. Be present with the conversation. Mars in Virgo can be a tough placement for this reason. But this is also somebody who can be an ingenious strategizer and thinker, especially when it comes to psychology. Again, learning the psychology through Virgo, Mars, of what's going on with me. Now, what we're going to do next is we take the Atmakarika and we put it in the Swamsha. The Atmakarika Mars relates to the Kritika moon, which is again more of the spiciness. And anyone in a relationship with the moon in Kritika is going to have, we have to accept this person as being a pusher, an initiator, and as Victakara told us about Kritika moon, this is somebody who, when the moon is there, it's not an indicator for gentle affection and intimacy. So you might be someone who has this fiery energy and people love you for it. So some level of you needs to make peace with the fact that I'm a fiery gal. I'm spicy on the tongue. I'm a big talker. I'm flighty. And when people talk to me, I've got a fiery initiating energy as a woman. In the case of the nakshatra, it's not like a male energy. Nakshatras are feminine, so this isn't something that you should shy away from. It's not like you're too manly. It's not like you're too masculine. This is a woman's energy that you can feel comfortable with as a confident, spicy, you might get into dancing or something like that. That's Kritika moon. Being the lead when you're dancing. Now, the final piece here is where is Mars in the Navamsha chart. So everybody, let's take a quick look here. Remember, when we see this Mars, it's at 25.5 degrees of Virgo. So let's take a quick peek here. When we are looking at the astrology chart, we can see around the 25 degree mark. I've actually got a picture here. See, 25 degrees is between 26 and 23, right? So that is the 8th Navamsha. The Navamshas go up in increments of 3 degrees, 20 minutes of arc. So 320, 640 degrees, 10 degrees. 1320 degrees, 1640 degrees, 20 degrees. 2320 degrees, 2640 degrees. So between 23 and a third and 26 and 2/3 degrees is the 8th Navamsha. Okay? So this Mars is in the 8th Navamsha of Virgo. Now, remember, what we do is we count up 8 signs, 8 amshas, from the cardinal sign of the birth sign's element. In this case, Mars is in the sign of Virgo. Virgo is an earth sign. We know that Mars is in the 8th Navamsha of an earth sign. So what do? We look at our Navamsha wheel, and we are going to look up 8 positions from Capricorn. 8 signs, 8 amshas from Capricorn, because that's what we do when we're looking for a sign and a planet in the Navamsha chart. We take its birth element, which again in this case is Virgo. Virgo's an earth sign. We look for the cardinal earth sign, which is Capricorn. And we count 8 places from Capricorn, right? So let's look at our Navamsha wheel. Capricorn is 1, Aquarius is 2, Pisces is 3, Aries is 4, Taurus is 5, Gemini, Cancer. Leo is the 8th sign from Capricorn, which means that Leo is Maria's Swamsha. The sign of Leo is the critical anchor for this person. So, when it comes to the sign of Leo, having Leo Swamsha, it works well with Mars. There is a harmony there. Of course, Leo and Aries are in a trine from each other. Mars likes to be in water signs and in fire signs. So Mars is delighted in the Navamsha here. Technically, it's probably, when we look in Maria's chart, in the Navamsha, yeah, so it's neutral dignity because the sun is a friend, but it's far away from this Mars here. It's in the 5th house away from Mars. So either way, this sign of Leo is a positive place for the Atmakarika Mars to be. The Atmakarika Mars brings out more of the Dharma qualities, the noble qualities of Mars. Leo Swamsha is a leader. It is ruled by the sun. So Leo Swamsha is somebody who wants to be the center of people's worlds. Especially because, Leo for a Taurus rising, it's the 4th house. So there's a foundational quality to this person. Maria, our friend Maria here, is a Leo Swamsha. Now, what we say about Leo Swamsha is that it is dealing with large beasts. It's afraid of large beasts larger than itself. Now, for everybody's reference, by the way, if you want to learn about it's always worth doing this. So what you want to do, you go on Google and you look up, my friend Brooke from Star Oracles has the best articles that I've ever seen on the Swamsha, and she takes these articles from the wisdom of Ernst Wilhelm. And so she has these great little articles describing the Swamsha. And I recommend for anybody who's looking at this, find out what your Swamsha is and then read Brooke's page. It's going to tell you a lot about yourself. Now what we read is in Leo Navamsha, that's the Swamsha. In Leo Swamsha, there's fear of wild beasts. So it's very sparse. This is what Jaimini tells us about Leo Swamsha. It's cryptic, but there's a lot of dynamic energy squeezed into this tiny little statement. For Leo Swamsha, the word to examine is svapada, which means you're in one's own place. And another definition of that is wild beasts. So obviously very few Leo Swamshas are having issues with wild dogs, tigers, and lions. So this is to be interpreted symbolically. There's two meanings to the svapadad. What Brooke tells us is that your own place indicates your territory, but wild animals indicate anything outside your territory. Wild animals are literally out of your control and out of your realm of command. So Leo Swamsha is naturally uncomfortable by the things outside of their influence. If the Swamsha is well placed and aspected, it gives qualities of leadership, righteousness, loyalty, and creativity. But if the Swamsha, Leo Swamsha, is suffering, this gives us aloofness, false pride, or the feeling of being entitled to recognition but reluctant to put yourself out there. So Leo Swamsha is somebody who's like the lion, who has a big heart, but they can be a little nervous. You know, from, what am I thinking of? Oh gosh. Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road. The Wizard of Oz. The lion has a big heart, but I'm a little too scared to go out there. This is the lion, is that it wants to be respected. It wants to be regarded. It wants to have lots of love. It wants to do well. And it wants people to respect it for what good it does. But it has such a vision in its head of being well respected and well regarded that it almost is too afraid to try. Because what if I fail? What if I try to go out there and I don't do a good job? This is especially tough for Mars, this Mars Atmakarika, because it falls in the sign of Virgo. So you probably think about what I want to do, and it stops you from ultimately just getting out there and doing some things. You know, you got to just put those skates on and start going out there and playing hockey. Start smashing yourself up a little bit. Start playing the game and start failing. Start learning to be okay with failing. It's going to be what allows you to crack through your resistance and just start getting out there and opening your heart and learning how to be impressive to people, how to be well, gracefully regarded as a powerful woman. Leo Swamsha wants to be powerful in everything that they are. That's why we say that svadapad is you're in your own territory. When we talk about Leo rising, the picture that I often give looks a little bit like this. Do I have it? Leo rising is like a lion sitting by itself at the campfire. It's got nobody else around it. It's in its own kingdom. It's in its own world. It's in its own territory. It is strong by itself. It knows what it's good at. It knows what side its bread is buttered on. And when it's in its own little world, it's the king. That's why the lion gets a little bit afraid of wild beasts. Because as soon as someone comes along and threatens this beautiful world that I've created for myself, now all of a sudden I don't know how strong I really am. All three of these significations indicate a strength, a sharpness, a powerful woman. This is a woman who wants to be powerful, to be regarded as powerful, and has the Mars strength to do it. But with that 12th house Saturn Ketu energy, in Aries, you are part of what is always going to be a part of who you are, is letting go of, you see, sometimes with Mars, we could be thinking a million things. Oh, I don't know how strong I am. It's like he's not courageous, the lion in The Wizard of Oz. I don't know how strong I am. I don't know if I could do this. I feel weak. I don't feel strong. I feel like I'm not a sexy woman or a powerful woman. I don't have magnetism. I don't have what other people have. I wasn't born to strong, rich parents. I wasn't guided right. All these thoughts go through your head. All these thoughts don't matter when you get out there and you use your intelligence to do the action that's expected. See, me as an astrologer, when people come to me as an astrologer, sometimes I slept in late, or the girl that I'm with, she said something to me that hurt my feelings, and I was up all night thinking about it. And then I wake up and I'm not perfect. And I sit in front of somebody and I have to do astrology for them, and I think like, oh gosh, oh gosh, oh geez, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. I don't know if I'm strong enough right now to do what I'm supposed to do. It doesn't matter when it comes to Mars and the lion and the king. It doesn't matter how you feel. What matters is the scorecard. What matters is that you showed up and did your best and used your logic and applied it to the numbers. Rod A goes into slot A. Rod B goes into slot B. It's like you're playing Lego. You followed the instructions. You did the best you could. And you showed up. And you applied your logic. Mars. Mars is logical. Mars feels very deeply, and it uses its passion and feelings to go harder into what it does. And you've got to learn how to use your passion. And even when you're resistant, just show up and do what you can and try your best. I know that sounds almost cheesy, but this is the case with Mars. You'd do better having 100 failures and 20 successes than you would do with 5 successes. Maria. I want to say that again. This is very important for you to understand. With this particular combination, your Mars Atmakaraka, you just got to show up and do your best. And you would do better if you had 100 failures and 20 successes than you would with 5 successes and, let 20 failures or something like that, or less, or no failures. You'll spend your whole life trying to make the perfect successes. But what your job is not to, my job as an astrologer is not to be a perfect human being. When people come to me, they don't expect me to be perfect. You ever seen therapists? You go to your therapist and you sit on the big chair, you sit like this, and you're like, you're talking to the astrologer and he's behind you like Sigmund Freud, You're sitting on the chaise lounge in the chair, and you're telling the psychologist all your troubles, and they're like, yes, and they're reading, and they're like, yes, indeed, and they're listening to you, right? The psychologist does that for 20 people in the week. Then on Saturday, the psychologist, it's his turn to sit in the chair and to wonder and to talk. And to say, I've got all these people and all these troubles and all these problems. And he has a psychologist that's oh, yes, indeed, I'm listening. And then his psychologist at the end of the week goes to another psychologist. All the psychologists go to psychologists because nobody's perfect. When you're doing any job, your job is not to be perfect. Your job is to show up and do the best you can and use your logic to just do the actions as best you can. And for you in particular, my dear, showing up and using your mind and your power, learning to use your power even when you don't feel strong. That is what's going to get you to show up and to be respected for the person who showed up. But a lot of that is very fiery energy. For you, Maria, don't be afraid to heal. This isn't a pressure on you to perform, to do anything. There is a wink that is where your strength lies, is showing up to things. But with Scorpio Atmakaraka, you're not stupid. You're like a warrior. And if you're going to go out to battle and you're going to get killed, it's like, guys, I got to rest up today. Today's not my day to go out into battle. I got to prepare my guns. I don't have enough gunpowder. Give me one day and I'll last out in that field. I'll last out there for 3 months. But give me one day of rest. Let me prepare myself. You know, Mars is not an idiot. Mars is intelligent. Mars knows how it attacks a situation in the best way. So you as the lion need to know what's best for you in order to be respected and to be loved and to be powerful. So don't let the world push you around so that you have a hard time being powerful. But this is the main theme here. And I hope that that's clear. Now, this has just been the big three. As usual, it took me for a loop in describing it. So Maria, my dear, I hope that this has been a good reading for you. It's been nice to talk about the big three. The Mars Atmakaraka, which is a strong, passionate person who thinks logically and intelligently and shows up and does actions. It's Leo Swamsha, somebody who likes to be creative, to get good at something that you're uniquely good at, to find your path in life, and to apply it with creativity and sacrifice. It's a big key to Leo Swamsha that I should have mentioned too. So you need to find something in your life worth sacrificing for. Something that you can build on. And wherever this going on with the sun is going to be part of this, which in your case is the sun is in the 9th house of Capricorn. It's with Mercury and Jupiter. Thankfully, it's not combusting those, which is really nice. It's actually a happy thing with the sun, Mercury, and Jupiter, because Mercury and Jupiter have the sun for a friend. And the sun has Jupiter for a friend. The sun's very delighted in this chart. So that's a nice thing. That's going to give a little bit of help when it comes to you finding something worth sacrificing for. Something to live for. What's my path in life? What's my purpose? What am I good at that makes me uniquely shine amongst others? That's the lion in his own campfire, right? And don't be dismayed when other people, you might got to go through envy and jealousy when someone else comes and they're very good at something. Mind your own soul destiny, and you'll never have to deal with jealousy. Competitors will just be people who are going to help you get better at what you're doing. This is the things you got to think about. And then third, the moon's nakshatra Kritika, is somebody who is sharp, penetrating, is like able to focus, and can say things that are like destructive and fiery. But you need something that fuels you. You need to be fueled by good feelings. That's what they say, Shukram Parastad Jyotiravastad, for Kritika Nakshatra. Om Agniye Kritika Shukram Parastad Jyotiravastad. That's the Nakshatra Sutra for Kritika. For Agniye, the cutter, Shukram is required, which is sweetness and fuel. Which means you need to find something, excuse me, frog in my throat. You need to find something that you love, that you're passionate about, and that draws you into it. It makes you even a little bit feisty and powerful. All three of these are very fiery signs. And I hope that this reading has allowed you to make some peace with that and to have some understanding of who you are through your Tropical Vedic Big Three. So Maria, my dear, I gotta cough this out. Excuse me, I was a little bit sick recently, and I guess I haven't fully gotten it all out. Amazing, Maria. I'm glad to finally do a reading for you, my dear. Now, keep in mind, Maria, I'm going to be making these tiny little videos soon, and I can still do this for you. I'd be happy to do it. But for everybody who's interested in these videos, thank you, darling. I appreciate you. My Aunt Carolyn can hear me coughing in the other room. Thank you, Aunt Carolyn. What a sweetheart. God bless her. For everybody who's watching this, if you are interested, pretty soon I'm going to be doing these tiny little 3-minute videos. If you want to be a part of that, I'm going to put it out to my members first, and I'm going to do this for a whole bunch of people. So get it while it's hot. It's going to be coming out soon. What you do is you join my email list by going to dustincormier.com/subscribe, and that way you're going to learn about updates. You're going to hear when I write some books. I've got new astrology books as well as poetry. I write my own poetry that I'm very excited about. Cosmic poetry, astrology poetry. You'll hear about those things by joining my email list, dustincormier.com/subscribe. Now, if you join there, you're going to get a free copy of my short story called Thread. It's a wonderful short story I'm very proud of. It talks a little bit about dementia and the dimensions of the human mind. I wrote it when I was smoking a lot of cannabis, actually. It's infused with that consciousness, but there's something very deep there. So I want you to read that story, read that short story, and tell me, not here, don't spoil it for everybody. I need you to send me through email and tell me what is that main character in that book, what is the instrument that they play. Remember, it's not a book, it's a short story, so it's not too much to read. Send me an email at astrology@dustincormier.com and tell me what does the main character, what instrument does he play? If you tell me that, and you send me a picture of yourself that is your that captures you, captures your soul, and send me your Atmakaraka Swamsha Nakshatra, I'm going to make a 3-minute video about you, about your big 3. I'm going to put it on my channel, and I'll send it to you, and you can put it on Instagram and TikTok and all that fun stuff. So keep that in mind. That's going to be happening within the next week or two, everybody. Now, thank you to Maria. Yes, very well done. Thank you so much, Maria, for being a part of our reading today, talking about the Tropical Vedic Big 3. Now, everybody, I'm supposed to be getting ready for Thanksgiving dinner. So I have one more reading left to do today. These ones have all been long. Story of my life. Maria, honey, Maria's been on my channel for a long time, and I've always wanted to do a good reading for her. So I'm glad I got to give her a really good reading. But now the next one, I'm going to try to keep it within a half an hour. We're going to talk about the big 3, Atmakaraka Swamsha Nakshatra, which was inspired by my friend Corey Dowds from Eye of the Veda. He's another Tropical Vedic astrologer. So let's take a pee break. When I come back, we're going to do our final reading of the day, and we're going to discuss the big 3. So I'll see you guys in just 1 second.
Shouldn't interrupt, but if he needs a water, I gotta get it to him.
Thank you so much. And you can always do that.
Oh, thanks.
My audience is cool.
Okay.
They're very chill.
I can't imagine that I'll do it again, unless I hear you coughing.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Very sweet.
Any hurry either, so take your time.
Sweet. Thanks, Aunt Carolyn. I got one more reading to do for the day, and then I'm popping out. What a darling. I'm currently got my Aunt Carolyn living with me at the house with my father. And she's a very sweet woman. Chocolate, chocolate. Today I'm sampling some nice La Montagne, pure dark chocolate. My favorite is chocolate with salt in it. It gets me so good. Now, I guess I'm not fully through with this sickness. My throat's feeling a little throaty at the moment. It doesn't hurt. It's just froggy and won't go away. God, I love chocolate. But I digress. Ladies and gentlemen, we currently have people who are still watching and hanging out with us today. We're about to embark on our final reading of the day. Now I gotta bank this one in. I gotta curb it a little bit. I'm glad I gave the last two. We had two compelling charts today, so it is what it is. Everything happens for a reason. But I'm gonna try to keep the next one tight. I've got to be done at least by the hour mark, by noon. So let's aim for it. Send in your birth time and birth date and birthplace, ladies and gentlemen. If you have not, if you've been watching, now is the time. We are doing our final reading. Put it in now. Now is the time. Send me your birth time, birth date, and birthplace. And you will get a chance for our final reading today of the big three. It's the Amakarka, the Swamsha, and the Nakshatra, as it is given in Tropical Vedic Astrology. The Tropical Vedic Big Three is what we are discussing today. Now is your chance to have a free reading and to get a little glimpse of your big three from yours truly. If you're just watching, again, we are embarking on a specific reading today, talking about the big three. So if you're watching, throw in your birth time. Even if I've already done a reading for you, this will be a new sort of reading. Now, I'd like to remind everybody, it's nice to see Toxica, and Toxica has given me the prompt for the reminder. I'm going to be doing lots of videos like this, and particularly, you're going to see me doing these tiny little 3-minute videos, and my members are going to be the first ones to get it. Members of my YouTube channel get a free, not free, but they get the first pickings, the first opportunity to be a part of this experience. So if you want to be a member, go to my channel. You can find the join button. It's about $3 a month. And when you do so, that is how you get an opportunity to sneak in and be a part of this members-only video experience. Eventually, I'm going to open it to everybody, but before we do, it is going strictly to the members of my channel. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Toxica, it's nice to see you. We have a few people who have sent in their birth time. Now, if anybody hasn't done so yet, throw in your birth time, birth date, birthplace. This is our last reading of the day. It looks like we have all our contestants in. So let's do a nice little reading here. I'm going to pick a number. Oh, I don't want to break this thing by stretching. I need to stretch right now, and it sucks. That felt good. I like this shirt. I call it my bisexual shirt. It's my 90s lesbian mom shirt. I feel like that lady in Freaky Friday. You know, she was always wearing these outrageous clothes. It's technically a lady's shirt. I'm always wearing shit like this to keep myself on my toes, ladies and gentlemen. That is the reason that I do these things. If I can keep myself on my toes, then hopefully everybody else will follow suit. So, let's say, I'm going to go with 19. Weird number. I'm going to pick the number 19. This time I'm going to go from the top, starting with Eduardo, and I'm going to make my way down. I'm going to count down 19. Whoever I land on is going to be our final read for today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, fuck. Excuse me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Nice. I haven't said it yet. You know, I'm going to include Sun Soul in this because it is going to. I should. Sun Soul T, it's nice to see ya. And Monica, Mo Lee 83, it's nice to see you as well. So for everybody watching, Monica, you can feel free to join in on this as well. I know I've already done lots of readings for you, but we're doing a special thing today. We're doing the big three. It's the Atmakarika, Swamsha, Nakshatra. And I'm going to pull it all together as a nice, sharp little package. So even if I've already done readings for you, today it's a novel one. So feel free, if you feel like it, to throw in your birth time, your birth date, and your birthplace, and you get a chance to have a reading with this Tropical Vedic Big 3. Now, our friend Sun Soul T has just joined in. I'm going to redo this again. We're going to count from 19, and we're going to go from the stop. We're going to go from the top. Now, Monica, if you'd like, if you want to throw in your birth information, you have a chance now. It looks like you're in it. So what I'm going to just do is I'm just going to count your name. Yes, awesome. All right, good. So Monica and Sun Soul T are in. Let's count again from the top. The number is 19, and we're going from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So now everybody, the person I've landed on is actually dual set. Yep. Thank you, Itzel, darling. I appreciate you. Theo is here as well. I included Theo when I was counting these numbers. And it is nice to see Theo here. Dual set. Hello. Congratulations. You have been chosen for today. Now, thank you for everybody who's been here and watching and who threw in for a chance to be a part of this reading today. Now, everybody remember, again, this is our final reading for today. And I'm very happy and satisfied to be doing this work. Now, if anybody wants to donate for the work that I do, I've got my donation link inside of the chat box. It'll take you directly to PayPal. You can go in there, and my email is howtorockatcampfire@gmail.com. And as well, keep your eyes on the skies, folks, because there's a few things coming out in Dustin Cormier's world. Now, dual set, my friend. I'm going to save Maria Antonia because I got a feeling I'm going to do her chart again. Okay, dual set. My pleasure, dual set. Very happy to have you. So, May 20th, 1990. At 8:30 a.m. 083000. Dual set, let me know if you are male or female or anything in between. And let's see, the Philippines. Yeah, it's often nice. I mean, for a reading like this, it really doesn't matter with your big three. But I always like to ask for the person's pronouns. It makes it a little bit easier to discuss things in the English language in particular. And you're in a place called Tarlac in the Philippines. Now there's two of them, and that's okay. They're very close to each other. Dual set, May 20th, 1990, 8:30 in the morning. Female. Okay, I'm just gonna edit the data. Just making sure I got it all right. Okay. Miss Dual Set. Yeah, Tarlac, I think I got you here. So I have you as Cancer rising. Ah, yeah. Okay, you're just like my brother. 1990 was a good year for Cancer. because Jupiter was floating through the sign of Cancer. It's interesting that Chiron is there too. And where is that Chiron? It's around, wow. So you've got Jupiter conjunct Chiron within 5 degrees, and the ascendant is right there on that point. That has got to be one of the happiest Jupiters I've ever seen. Oh, bless you, Monica. Nice to see you, Monica. I always appreciate being connected with you. So look at that happy chappy Jupiter there in Cancer. Good times, good things. This is just like my brother's chart. You're born on the same, one day before my brother, which is kind of a better position, really, than my brother, because he's got the moon conjunct Venus in Aries. Your moon in Pisces in the 9th house with Mars is a happy position for the moon. It's still dark, still technically a dark moon. The sun, let's see, is that sun combusting that Mercury? Nope, it's not. No combustion, that's a nice thing. And the sun is the Atmakaraka in this chart, and just like my brother, that's highly relevant because of the sun of Ketu in Leo, that is. Now I'm digesting something. I guess that my brother, I know that he's Saturn. Yeah, very interesting. Yes. So, okay, you are the Sun Atmakaraka dual set. And the Sun is at 28 and 3/4 degrees of Taurus. It's actually in Kritika, just like the moon was in the other charts. So that is our first marker, and today we have the Sun Atmakaraka. Sorry for the noise there, folks. So the Sun Atmakaraka, remember we're talking about the Tropical Vedic Big 3, which is inspired by my friend Corey Dowds here from Eye of the Veda. The Atmakaraka, the Swamsha, and the Nakshatra is what we're talking about. The Atmakaraka is the Atman. Karaka is a signifier for something. So the Atmakaraka is the signifier for the soul, the Atma. Now, there is a nice thing when the Jaimini Karakas line up with their natural Karaka. What we mean by that is that the sun is the natural Atma Karaka. That's why Sunday is the first day of the week. The sun is number 1. You got to look out for number 1. The soul love that comes from the self-recognition of ourselves as being a particle of the cosmos. We are the universe having its experience. And so it's important for us to each be strong in our own individual roots as a sovereign unit of consciousness. Because we are what the universe wraps around. Have you ever seen the symbol of the sun in astrology? It's a circle with a dot in the center. And what this tells us is that circle of the cosmos is radiating from the center. And that center is the soul. That center is the sun. That center is the Atma. So the sun is the natural Atmakaraka. For most people, like for me, I've got Venus Atmakaraka. The Venus is like a second sun for me because it's the planet with the highest degrees. So it's a nice thing when the planet, that is the Atmakaraka, resonates somehow with the sun. And in this case, of course, we have the sun as the Atmakaraka. The sun is the planet with the highest degrees in this chart, being in Taurus in that 11th house. Now, I'm hoping that the birth time is relatively clear here because, let me just check. You're good. You're good. Yeah. No, the sun is definitely the Atmakaraka here. So, the sun being the Atmakaraka, there's a few things that's always interesting to talk about. When we're talking about Leo Swamsha, it kind of has similar qualities to the sun. When it comes to the sun, we want to be a lion in our own kingdom, in our own campfire. We are a leader unto ourselves. We want the world to revolve around us. That's coming from a Leo rising. But there is a truth to this. The universe bends to the hilt of our nature, our way of doing things in the world. We're a lion at our own campfire. So the sun is similar in this way. The sun, Atmakaraka, wants to be a leader. Now, depending on what's going on in the chart, the sun is going to have different ways of going about this. What's nice is we've got a nice Buddhi yoga. The sun is involved with Mercury in this chart. Now, there are indications that the sun is getting stomped on a little bit in this chart, and it doesn't have quite so much help from its friends. I'm just going to check the Shadbala. The sun's still pretty good in this chart. Still pretty happy. The strongest planet in this chart, is Jupiter. That makes sense. Jupiter and Venus are both very present in this person. But yeah, Jupiter's swinging in this fucking chart. We have a Jupiter that has 612 total points of Shadbala. It's at 157% of what's required for Jupiter to function at its best. This is it's great for a woman to have a good Jupiter. We can see Jupiter is in its own sign in the D7 chart, and it's not so happy in the D9, the Navamsha. But having a good Jupiter for a woman indicates that there is a propensity to understand the psychology of a man, to find your own divinity first, your dharma within you, and then to see that reflected in the man, which is the bigger thing. A woman with a good Jupiter knows how to grow through love and to live truly and deeply for the woman's dharma. This is a very interesting chart because I'm just realizing that Jupiter is in the moon sign where it's exalted, and the moon is in Jupiter's sign in Pisces. That is a first house, ninth house Parivartana yoga. And as well, we have something called Hamsa yoga. Hamsa yoga is when a planet, is when Jupiter in particular, it's a Mahapurusha yoga. The Mahapurusha yoga is when any of these planets are in their own sign or an exaltation sign, and they're in an angle. We actually have two planets who are in, this is just like my brother, we have two planets here that are in what's called a Mahapurusha yoga and are well placed. Because Jupiter likes to be close to the first house cusp, and Saturn likes to be close to the second house cusp. The Jupiter Hamsa energy, the Hamsa yoga, Hamsa means swan. The swan can drink the milk and leave the runny milk, which means that's why the swan is white. Hamsa yoga is Goku energy, if you've ever heard me describe that. Amazing dual set. Kriya yoga would be great for you. But any form of, any path of yoga that involves you being in a sort of an apprenticeship with some kind of guide, some kind of guru, somebody who has been at the steps that you're looking to get to, and they're pushing you and encouraging you to get where you want to go, that is going to be good for you because of this insanely good Jupiter that you have in the first house, this Hamsa yoga, Swan yoga. I call it Goku yoga. You know Goku from Dragon Ball Z? He's the golden boy. He's, no matter what, Goku is the guy in Dragon Ball Z when a big adversary came, a big fighter, and this big guy's got all these big muscles, and Goku's this tiny little guy. And everyone's, oh no, I'm afraid of this big guy. Oh my god, everyone's afraid of him. And Goku's like, oh, okay, looks like this might be a good fight. This could be a lot of fun. And everyone's like, what? Goku, don't you see how big he is? What are you talking about, Goku? You shouldn't be happy about this. And Goku's like, well, obviously this is going to be good for me. Obviously this is going to be good. We're going to have a lot of fun here. You know, Goku is eternally happy, positive, ready to explore what is difficult. Oh, amazing. Gohan and Goku. Cool. I'm glad that you are exploring Ryan Kirksack dual set. I think that that's going to be very good for you. Ryan is my Kriya Yoga teacher as well, so that's coming from a place of someone who is in that same pocket. So take it with however many grains of salt you wish. But you know, obviously, you're going with Ryan Kirksack. Ryan Kirksack is a Kriya Yoga teacher, and he's also my astrology teacher. I highly recommend him for anybody who's interested in getting into spiritual things in general. It's nice that you have the 12th Lord, which is Gemini, rules your 12th house, is with the Sun, your Atmakaraka, and they're involved in what's called a Buddhi Yoga. Thankfully, the Sun is not combusting this Mercury. So it's a happy Mercury. This is a good Mercury here as well. This is a good chart. Mars has extremely strong yoga power. Jupiter's got some of the strongest yoga power I've ever seen. And Saturn has extremely strong yoga power. And Saturn is, of course, involved in this Mahapurusha Yoga, which is the Saturn is in an angle and it's in its own sign. So that's what we call Shani Yoga. That's very important because we have Rahu in Aquarius. So, dual set, when you get to be about 36 years old, you're going to start opening up into Rahu, which is the side of the chart that most of your planets are in. It's going to start waking up your Saturn, and you're going to find some great maturity, satisfaction, and possibly you're going to start involving yourself in romance, in love, in investing your time and money, energy into a relationship, as well as powerful business entrepreneurship opportunities, because your Rahu, at age 36, Rahu starts to crack open for all of us. So that we can kind of see happening. And all of the planets that are close to Rahu start to open up as well. You know, planets that are close to Rahu, we almost don't use them that much until age 36. Then at age 36, we leave the Ketu castle, which we can see here. Jupiter is the only planet that's really close to Ketu. We leave the Ketu castle and we go into the other half of the chart where all the planets that are close to Rahu exist. Saturn, having a very good Saturn, which you certainly do, is going to help with when Rahu opens up in your life. Studying AI automation, amazing. Now, the Atmakaraka, the Sun, has Ketu. You have Ketu in Leo, which means that there is going to probably be, somebody who might be a very late bloomer when it comes to getting the most out of your Atmakaraka. Your Atmakaraka is going to stew for a long time until age 46, 47, 48. Around that age, that's when Ketu matures, which means you might not make the fullest use of your Atmakaraka till age 48. It makes well enough sense because age 50 to 70 is the age of the Sun. The age of the Sun is when from age 50 onwards, all the kids have gone to college. You know, you've kind of taken care of the householder duties in a lot of ways. You've taken care of, you've learned your guidance. You've gotten a lot of guidance from gurus, from teachers, from your education, your higher education, from Jupiter. Jupiter is age 32 to 50, where you're gathering wood for the fire. You're gathering your sticks like the hermit. Right now, you and me are both in that period. We are learning from gurus. We are learning from teachers and listening with our ears, with our good Jupiter. Jupiter is all about listening to people who will get us on a path that will take us to the highest, to the fastest of what we are, who we are, and what we want to be and what we want to do, especially for you with your Sun in the 11th house of Taurus. There's probably an artist in you, somebody who wants to be well regarded in a field and whatever it is that you choose to do. And it's a second house. You got the second house lord, because Leo rules the second house. There's a second house. There's an entrepreneurship. There's an intelligence with money. There's an intelligence with possibly art, speaking. You might be a good speaker. You might be an internet entrepreneur, an influencer, somebody who has this kind of intelligence to get out there. And this is what the sun is trying to do. And it's going to do it in a warm, consistent way. And you'll always be building on this because the sun is, the sun has some things that are going to stomp it out a little bit. It's particularly by being in the sign of Venus, of Taurus. You might find relationships, love, these things might take you away a little bit from the path and the career that you're seeking to follow through with. Kriya Yoga will certainly help you with that consistency. It's amazing that you're into Kriya Yoga. A good Jupiter can cancel a lot of the bad and ugly stuff inside of a chart. And Saturn is going to conscript you to that consistency as well. So following through with things that you put your heart into is going to help a lot with this chart. Ultimately, the sun is going to wade into what it is and its desires. Now, you're going to probably, at age 36, go into Rahu a little bit, which means you're going to start thinking about the world and other people. You probably got like a vacuum of talent, of creativity, of knowledge in the second house. That's Leo in the second house. Cancer has Leo in the second house. So it identifies with gathering things, gathering knowledge, gathering resources, but you almost can't do anything with them. Not until you go into Rahu and blend yourself in with the world. Start taking on tasks and objectives and responsibilities that involve other people, the 8th house. It's going to pull you out of your little cyclone vacuum of personal creativity and involving you with other people, investing your time, money, and energy in the world. You might waste some time and energy because that's Rahu in the 8th house. You might invest money into something, energy into something, time into something, into a person, into a lover, into a marriage, into relationships. And you might find that things spill over and don't go quite right, but likely because you've got a good Saturn, which rules Aquarius for you, it will go well. You have Shani, Sasha Yoga. Saturn is the rabbit, and the rabbit always has 4 holes dug. So when the fox comes, you go through one hole, and then you come out the other end, and you've got 4 more holes dug. By the time the fox comes through halfway through, he's looking up, and you've already disappeared in one of your 4 holes. Saturn, when it's in an angle, and it's in its own sign, it's Sasha Yoga, it's very intelligent. So I have high hopes for your Rahu. Don't be afraid to invest in people. Smell them. Get a sense for whether trustworthy character and person and intelligence with money, and then follow through with it. You'll do that for a while. Eventually, it'll bring you at age 48 back to Ketu and Leo. And that at age 48 is when you're going to start to master, what do I do with my money, with my entrepreneurship, my intelligence. It's good for you to be into money, by the way. Remember, money is not an evil thing. It's only evil comes from our attitude towards it. Just like sex, just like food, these are lower chakra stuff. The lower chakras are not evil. It's our approach. When it comes to the lower chakras, everybody, remember, like anything in life, the lower chakras are not a bad thing. It's, do you have karma that attaches you to them? Or karma that causes evasion? I don't like those things. It's when you don't like something, oh, I'm not allowed to have sex. That's when you get a craving for it. And then you crave it deeply, you suck it, the bone out of the marrow, and then you say, oh, I got that out of the way. And that's attachment. When you have attachment and aversion, that's what causes things. That's what's like a golf ball inside of a garden hose. When you kink up the garden hose, the golf ball can't go through. You want that golf ball to get out of the garden hose, you open up the hose and let it flow through. Let it be natural. Find peace with senses, with these sorts of things. And ultimately, money was the one that I was trying to focus on here. With K2 in the second house, it'll take a little while before you master money. But I highly recommend, you've probably got the intelligence to get into investing. You probably have an economical and understanding and mindset. So apply yourself to understanding investments. Taking 15% of your money and putting it into a well-diversified portfolio of ETFs, exchange-traded funds. I highly recommend the Vanguard method, which is Vanguard are these guys who put stocks into like 9,000 different stocks. So you're basically investing in the stock market. The stock market will always go up and down, but it'll eventually always go up because currency is always inflating. So that's a whole world of economic understanding that I recommend you explore. And if you want, you can email me. I have little things that I could show you just to kind of get started on that, because I'm into finances myself. I'm Venus Amakarika. And I'm interested in these things. I got Venus and Jupiter in my second house. But I digress. You're not going to fully master what money means for you until you're about 48, around 50 years old. That's when, at 50 years old, you're going to have the money that you've collected and developed through everything that you've done, and you're going to use your resources. You're going to use the name that you've built for yourself to start putting your resources through your second house. This is your crocodile. The 8th house is the jaguar. That's the money that you build with other people. And it's slinky, and sometimes you got to be loose, It's 8th house energy. You might decide to invest in a yoga center in Panama with a bunch of people, 10 different people. You each pitch in $10,000. And the business goes up and down. And when it goes up and down, you want to have your own crocodile at home. You don't want to invest so much energy into something, $10,000, and then you pull it out when things go bad. When there's no money in it, you pull your money out, you're going to get, what, $1,000 out of the $10,000 that you put in. Let the money cook, because you've got your own crocodile at home. You've got your own business. You got your own clients. You got your own internet job that allows you to stay cooking, so that when your investments go up and down and up and down and up and down, that they need to do that in order to eventually skyrocket into something. That's what happens with risk. That's how risk works. If you want to play Jaguar, you got to have a crocodile at home. That's the second house. When you're 50 years old, all these learnings that you deal with in the world of finances and personal entrepreneurship is going to allow you to shoot the sun through the 11th house. When the age of the sun occurs, you'll be in full bloom, and that will be the time. God bless you. Don't be very careful with crypto. Crypto will fuck you around. ETFs are more diversely diversified, and it's hard, real things. Crypto is interesting, but don't bet the family farm on it. ETFs are more important, and I would recommend you learn about them. But in any case, again, email me if you're interested in that, and I'll show you at least what I know. I'm happy to share it. Especially with someone like you. You have a very successful chart here that I'm looking at, in my opinion, as an astrologer. Now, when you're age 50 to 70, that's going to be the time where you take all of the success, all that you've built, all the name that you've built for yourself through Mercury and the Sun, which both have a manifestation power. This will be the time to be like, okay, I've built it. Now, what is this thing that I've built? You built yourself a water wheel. Now it's time to spin that sucker and to start gaining electricity or using that water wheel. At age 50, you have built the water wheel. You've built the tool. You've built the instrument. Now it's time to start playing it. Now it's time to start going to full gear. You've built the Ferrari, and you've been carrying it up to 3rd gear, to 4th gear. Now it's time to let that sucker warm up and open up on the highway, on the Autobahn. Let that sucker go as fast and as far and as deep as it can go. Because you are the Sun Atmakarika. That will be a very important time for you at age 50 to open that sucker up and let it fly. So, yeah, I wanted to say all that. That's just talking about the Atmakarika in this video that was supposed to be nice and short. It's so hard when I see a compelling chart. I just want to, I love astrology. Sun Atmakarika. You want to be a creator, somebody who leads, is an originator, is creative, and has a forward box-shaped progressive path that you can constantly sacrifice for. The sun needs to have something worth sacrificing for. And with the Sun Atmakarika, you might find, even as a woman, it might even be a bit tricky, where the things that you sacrifice for other things. You have to trust to let other people give you the keys to the van and say that I have a destiny. I have something that's going to bring me my truth. You have a truth. And even if you got kids, if you got a husband, if you got friends, if you got family, whoever you have in your life who is even dependent on you, you have to say to them, this is going to be best for everybody if I do what's best for me. And it's not even necessarily you struggle now and you'll have lots of money and you promise them, don't worry, I'm going to have lots of money later if you let me do my thing. That's not the intention here. The intention here is you should be teaching them what I'm teaching you to do for yourself, which is to radiate the sun, which is the center of the universe. When you believe in yourself, you take your kingdom, everything that is your keys to your kingdom, you hold them in your hand with the power to lead by your destiny. Everyone's going to see that. If you have children, you have a husband, whoever you got going on, they're going to see that and be like, wow, I see why that works. I understand. I want to do that for myself. It means that you as a woman, you want to be the mother for people, you want to serve people, and you can do that. But as long as there's a sacrifice that you're sacrificing everything for, that you know is God's voice saying, I need to do this thing, and everyone's going to have to follow me and believe in me, they will, because you have that in your chart. But this is what the sun wants, is for people to trust them to give you the keys so that you can drive the car and lead us to victory. Rama. Om Shri Ram Jai Ramo. So I have high hopes for you in this regard, dual set. So you are the sun Atmakaraka. Now, I had to say that in your chart. You know, it is what it is. You've got a very interesting chart. Now, the Swamsha, I'm going to have to piece this together now within like 5 or 10 minutes. It's okay. Your Swamsha, you have the sun in the sign of Taurus, is at the very end degrees of Taurus. When we look in our wheel, we see between 26 degrees and 40, between 26, 40 and 30 degrees is the 9th Navamsha. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up 9 amshas from the cardinal sign of the birth sign's element. In this case, we of course have the sun in the sign of Taurus, and that is an earth sign. So when we want to find a planet inside the Navamsha, we look at what Navamsha is it in. In this case, the sun is in the 9th Navamsha of Taurus. So what we do is we look at the cardinal element of that birth sign, which is of course Capricorn. We're going to count 9 spaces from Capricorn according to our little picture here. We're looking at Capricorn. This is the Navamsha wheel. We're going to count 9 spaces from Capricorn. Capricorn is first, Aquarius is second, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo. Virgo is the 9th Navamsha of any earth sign. Whether it's Taurus in the birth chart, if it's Virgo in the birth chart, if it's Capricorn in the birth chart, if it's in the 9th Navamsha, it's going to be in Virgo in the Navamsha chart. Since this is the Atmakaraka, that means that we are dealing with somebody who has Virgo Swamsha, just like me. I get a lot of Virgo Swamsha because I have Virgo Swamsha. See how I'm nerdy and I'm so into all these details? I have it all conscripted. I have the date, the sun period, there's the Jupiter period, and then there's the sun period, but you got to consider the dasha, but don't forget that Ketu is here, Rahu is here, all these very specific finite details. It's all very Virgo Swamsha stuff. Virgo Swamsha is a very calculated, can be a bit neurotic, can have a bit of difficulties in relationships, can overthink relationships sometimes because, you see, when you are the Swamsha of a sign, it's in the case of Virgo Swamsha, we get good with Mercury, but bad with Venus. You radiate the energies involved with that sign. Virgo is the place where Venus is debilitated. So having Virgo Swamsha, it has to deal with relationship stuff, especially the psychological childhood complications that might have happened to you from age 3 to age 12. A passionate service to your family. That's very good, dual set. What I want you to consider is, okay, let me read what you're saying here. 612 Venus, Mercury in the Navamsha. What do you mean by that? Venus is in Virgo, and Mercury is in Pisces. Got it. That's cool. So Venus is debilitated in the Navamsha, and Mercury is debilitated in the Navamsha. Those have indications. That would basically mean, like, for everything else going on in your chart, yeah, your Navamsha is interesting. Jupiter's not too happy in the Navamsha, neither is Saturn necessarily, but the Sun is in the sign of Virgo. It's interesting. I'd have to digest this more, but I've got to focus on what we're looking at here. But I am going to read what you're saying here, that it's a sacrificial service instead to look at it as a passionate service to your family. I think it would be good for you, dual set. Intuiting what you're saying here, my instinct is to tell you to get on the good side of sacrifice. Because you are the sun, which means anything in your life, you have to start intoning the sun and thinking anything that you do is a happy, sacrificial, devotional service that you're doing to the gift of life that we've been given. We've all been given the gift of life. It's a fire. And fire has to take from the wood in order to live. But the fire is worth it. The sun is up there burning chemicals and pushing itself out there, and it's going to die someday. It's just giving it all out there for free. It's devotional. It's a gift. God has gifted us with the energy of the sun. You are a reflection of the energy of the gift of the sun. It's devotional sacrifice, which means you are happy and devoted in sacrificing in this way. And you have to get on the good side of that. So keep that in mind. Even in relationships, because you're Virgo Swamsha, you might find it can be icky sticky. The real thing that's probably going on, if you feel the icky sticky, it's because Mercury rules age 3 to 12. So I highly recommend you look at what might have happened with your parents. Your childhood, did your parents split up when you were young? If they did, if there was any anger and antagonism between your mother and father, you would have felt, even if they didn't show it on the surface, no matter what, Virgo Swamsha would have felt the complications of their imperfect mother and father dynamic, which, by the way, even if it was really good, is still always going to be a little bit imperfect. Because our job as humans is not to be perfect. Our job is to be love. If there's finding the love in complex, jagged situations is part of what Venus does. When you have Virgo Swamsha, it can be hard to digest these things. So they split up when you were young. You had no communication with your father. It's very good for you. You have a good Jupiter and a good Saturn that rules your 7th house, which means you have the ability to come into a sacred understanding of gender, of communication, and of relationships. Virgo Swamsha, honey, you should totally learn about relationship communication. And I see you've been in bad terms since you last saw him. That means that there's probably wounds with the masculine in your experience. And what I would say is, for all the good that we see going on in the sun in your chart, Virgo Swamsha here, the sun does okay in Virgo. The sun doesn't have Mercury for an enemy. And in your chart, the sun and Mercury's actually delighted by the sun in your chart. So Virgo, the sign of Virgo, is happy with what's going on with the sun, which is your Atmakaraka. So there is an opportunity here to understand psychology and to understand the counseling dynamics of male and female and the Tantra. You might do well with Tantra. Tantra, learning how you as a woman have certain unique powers that are different from mankind, from the male species, and how the male species can be a complement to you and your feminine goddess, juicy, vibrational energy and the psychology involved with that. You know, the anima. The woman goes through the anima and the animus, actually. When you are born to a single mother, typically she becomes like the father, and she has to take care of everything, which means the mother becomes a little rigid, a little tough. So you might have a mother who became a little bit wooden. It's a little bit less loving than we would prefer a mother to be. And you as a woman would have digested and absorbed that independent womanhood. I'm a strong, independent woman who can do everything myself and is therefore chained and cursed to do everything by yourself unless you apply the heart. It allows you to work together with your femininhood in concert with the universe that wants to serve you as much as you want to serve it and wants to experience the love of compatibility and harmony. So explore your childhood dynamics from age 3 to age 12. What could you not talk about with your mother? Could you not talk with your mother about your father? Were you afraid to talk about the dark things between your parents? Did this bring you a fear that stopped you from being free and open-hearted about these things? Because if it was true in your childhood about your parents, it's going to be true in your adulthood about yourself. Throat chakra, my dear. Open that sucker up. Explore and expand everything that you can talk about with relationships, with love, with communication, with harmony, and with the parts of yourself that you don't like, the parts of yourself that you do like. All of this stuff is going to be important in relationships and your life in general. Virgo Swamsha. I know a thing or two about it. I'm going to be writing a book, by the way. It's going to be called The Dirty Virgo Diaries. And it talks about a lot of this stuff that we're talking about. If you're interested in it, check out my email list at dustincormier.com/subscribe. I'm going to be putting that book out within the next year or two, and it talks a lot about this kind of stuff. So, another guy who you might be interested in is Charles Bukowski. See you later, our ghost. Especially from Robert is reading. Oh, nice. Venus Kamakaraka with Sagittarius Swamsha. I'm glad about that. I don't know what to do. Thank you for that. Yeah, dual set. Seek psychological counseling about the human dynamics of male and female. You might find that you have success brimming within you, but there are childhood psychological things that bog you down a little bit. Dual set. So do what you can to use your intelligent Mercury to figure out, not just in the business world, Mercury is playing in the outside and the inside. And I recommend and I highly encourage you to use your intelligent Mercury, your book reading, learning about, digesting information about Tantra. There's specifically a great book. It's called The Jewel in the Lotus. I could see you being the type of person who would be well served by that, dual set. Books like that. Another good one that for you might be Women Who Run with Wolves. This is the tantra of the feminine kind, of looking within yourself. Your business is going to do what it's going to do, but looking within what you are, what kind of experiences you want to have, so you don't feel too dry. Drink the water of your humanity on your path up the mountain of the success that you seek as the Sun Atmakaraka person. You know, you got two indicators that are drying out the Venus. Sun Atmakaraka is an enemy to Venus. So that, just by having the Sun Atmakaraka, you're drying out your Venus capacities, plus you have Venus debilitated in the Navamsha. So don't look at these things as things that are spoiling you. Look at them as things that your soul has not been inclined to think about, and now you're getting to be age 36. It's time for you to take account for the things that your brain is not naturally and organically accounted for in a healthy way. One of them is relationships. One of them is what you are as a woman in relationship to the rest of the world. Tantra is a great way to look into that. Tantra means male, female, and the true soul, the Tan, the continuum within it. Now, the last thing I want to say, my dear, because God bless you. You have a very compelling chart, and I have to run, but it's okay. I'm enjoying this. This is good practice for me. You have the moon in what appears to be Uttara Bhadrapada. Let me just check that. All right, you're at the 1 degree point. Let me just change the birth time. Uttara Bhadrapada. Uttara Bhadrapada. Purva Bhadrapada at about 23 minutes. 26. You're kind of a little cuspy. These fucking bastard cusps on the nakshatras. You're a little cuspy within 3 degrees, but I'd say that you are Uttara Bhadrapada. According to Ernst Wilhelm's software, which is the one that I use, I would consider you to be Uttara Bhadrapada. Keep in mind that Vic Dakara would possibly consider you as something different. It's hard to say. Before I move on to that, though, again, it's worth noting for everybody, when the best thing for you to do is go to Google and look up Virgo Swamsha, or whatever your Swamsha is. There's 2 good ones for Virgo. Number 1 is The Spiritual Challenge of Virgo Swamsha by Divine Time Astrology. This is a lady named Karen who has worked with Ryan Kirksack. She's a great astrologer. This is the good one for Virgo. But for everybody else, most of the Swamshas you can find by looking up your Swamsha and finding star oracles. There'll be a good little article about your Swamsha on there. For everybody watching this, use your resources. I highly recommend it. It's lunch now. No worries, dual set. You can always come back to this. I'm going to leave it on here. Uttara Bhadrapada moon. That's correct. That's what I would say you are. Now with Uttara Bhadrapada moon, it is a nakshatra that is very mystical. What we say about it is the coiled serpent above the sacrificial altar needs to moisten to extract the essence. It is one of the toughest nakshatras to technically understand. Is this the one? I think that the Purva Bhadrapada is the one with, Ajasya Kapada. For you, it's Ahirbudnias of Abhirbudnia, the coiled serpent, which can in some ways indicate some relevance to Kundalini energy in some ways. Digest that. The coiled Kundalini is basically an energy that is resistant, but a snake that's coiled for a long time. It's there's a brahmacharya. It wants to use its sexual energy, its erotic, passionate, vivacious, earthy energy in a constructive way. At some level, it does well to just blast out and to experience the wild ecstasy of the human body, but to do it with conscientiousness. I know that almost is self-defeating in its own statement, but be conscious of it. Use your tantra energy constructively and consciously, and explore it through tantra. I highly recommend it. You don't have to, but explore it for yourself. See if it fits as something worth checking out for you. And tantra isn't just Kama Sutra. It's not the praying donkey. It's not all sex postures like Kama Sutra. Tantra is the psychology of gender applied to spirituality and religious devotion and sacrifice. Uttara Bhadrapada wants to extract the spiritual significance within material things. This nakshatra is quiet and introspective about seeking the essence of things. It can be a very mystical, quiet, spiritual nakshatra. It's ideal for dissolving superficial coverings to reveal the true, enduring, real nature of things. This is your moon nakshatra as Uttara Bhadrapada nakshatra. You're looking for the enduring, real nature of things by exploring it, possibly getting wrapped up all up in it, and then it's like a snake that spits venom on it and gets it, boils it down to its essence, squeezes it down to its essence. Ketu, Jupiter, Mercury, and the moon can function quite well here in this regard, finding the true, enduring, real essence of things. The moon, as well as these other placements, lend a great deal towards indicating a person with deep spiritual insight. Ketu and the moon especially give deep spiritual insight with this sign. Now, if this Uttara Bhadrapada moon person can't connect conventional things to their deeper meaning and essence and spiritual significance, then Uttara Bhadrapada person runs the risk of disconnecting this person from the real world, submerging them in imagined significances. So looking within yourself, finding what in the world has spiritual depth and truth and meaning against all the Hollywood plastic bullshit. That's what Uttara Bhadrapada is all about, is seeking what in all this Hollywood plastic bullshit has a true beating heart of human significance. As a Sun Atmakarika person, there is a leadership quality that you want to apply to this. And you might be a person who guides people to find the truth and essence of spiritual significance in things as a leader in what you do and what you create and what you are. You might do well as a yogi or some kind of psychologist type person. The Virgo Swamsha is going to add an academic, bookish character to this, someone who likes to read and really explore what roots are involved in finding the spiritual essence and significance of things. You might be a person who uses this academia on your journey to be a leader who guides people to dissolve things down to their spiritual essence. Feel really good about that. I think I just sucked that sucker right in. I hope that you jive with what I just put out there for you, dual set, my friend. So we all gotta go. I gotta go do Thanksgiving. I got thanks to give. Now, dual set, let's give you a nice little gentleman's golf clap. A Dumbledore clap, if you will. Very well done. Thank you, dual set. And thank you to everybody who's been part of our reading today. I had fun wearing my pink K2 Cancer glasses and my bisexual shirt. My Freaky Friday shirt. I'm Dustin Cormier, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I feel really good about today. I hope you guys had some fun. This has been our Tropical Vedic Big 3. I'm going to try to do this every time we hang out. Happy Canadian Thanksgiving. Well, it's actually, to be honest with you, my family was, thank you, Sun Salt. My family was late. We were busy whenever Thanksgiving was, so we're just making up for it this weekend. Now, for everybody watching, I love doing this with you, and I love that all of you enjoy hanging out with me. It's a real pleasure for me. Now, I'm going to put my PayPal, DustinCormierOfficial.github at the top here. That's going to lead you to PayPal if you want to make a donation. Again, donations are never expected, but always appreciated. As well, if anybody is interested in getting a full reading with me, even all this stuff that we're doing with the Tropical Vedic Big 3, my real readings is the real place to go for that. Now, if you want to see what my real readings are all about, you can visit me at dustincormier.com/astrology, which you can see there. And you can click on it, and that will bring you to my website where you can see what my astrology readings are all about. And finally, keep in mind, I'm going to be doing a thing pretty soon where I'm going to make I'm going to do my best to make them 3 minutes long, 3-minute videos that you can put on TikTok, Instagram, everything you want, where we're going to start sharing the Tropical Big 3 with the world, telling the world the good news of this Big 3. Now, if you want to do this with me, I'm going to make a little video specifically for you. I want you to first join. One of the main reasons I'm doing this is because I want people to join my email list, because I'm going to be writing books soon, including the Dirty Virgo Diaries, which is full of me writing poetry about some dirty Virgo stuff. It's very Charles Bukowski, which, by the way, dual set, I don't know if I mentioned, but you might enjoy Charles Bukowski and his writing. Might be liberating for you, because he was Virgo Swamsha as well. He had lots of gunk in Virgo Swamsha, but his writing reflects this dirty, gunky man working through romantic stuff and being honest about it. My work is going to very much reflect him. the Dirty Virgo Diaries in particular. I've got lots of stuff like this coming through, including an astrology book that I'll be writing. If you want to be aware of it, go to dustincormier.com/subscribe. Now, if you want to be a part of these 3-minute videos, join me on my email list, and then send me an email. You're going to get a link to read my short ebook called Thread. If you want to be a part of this, email me at astrology@dustincormier.com. Tell me what that main character, what instrument he plays. And then send me a picture of yourself and your big 3 or your birth chart information if you don't know your big 3. And I'm going to make a little video. It's me showing your face, talking about your big 3. It's going to be a 3-minute video. You can put it on Instagram, TikTok, whatever, to help push the word about the Tropical Big 3. I'm going to make a video about all of that coming out soon. Either way, I'm happy to do this with you guys. Let's go eat. It's lunchtime where I am. And thank you all for hanging out with me. Thank you, Toxica, Maria, Lucas, Dualset, Sunsalt, Roberta. It's nice to see you here, Roberta. We had so many people hanging out with us today. Thank you all for being a part of it. I'll see you guys on the other side. Probably the next time we do a live like this will be the second Thursday of November. God bless until then. Take care, folks. Thanks for